Welcome to Imola and welcome to round number 7 of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Qualifying is underway and that is what we're going to take you to immediately here on RaceSpotTV. We have, again, 30 of the world's best sim races all going at it to see who can go the fastest, who can get the fastest lap, who can get themselves pole position. However, one thing has been the case all season long. One driver has been head and shoulders better than the rest. That driver has been Martin Kroenke. He has won all 6 rounds of the championship so far, and well, he's now on track to beat a record set by Gregor Hutu in 2010 for the highest percentages of wins in a World Championship Series. So that is where we enter the second round, the second half even, of the 2017 World Championship Grand Prix Series. Will Vincent, Jonathan Simon, as we are here at Imola. Johnny, welcome to Italy.
Well, again, I mean, we had Monza around 5. Here we are back for Imola again. Great racetrack, beautiful weather for qualifying 2, and another round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. The question is, for this round, can anybody knock off Martin Kroenke for a race win? That has been the storyline for not just last race, not the race before, every single race this season, because he's been undefeated and really hasn't been knocked off the top step of the podium. And he's already up there on provisional pole right now in qualifying.
He is by 2 tenths per second. Bullet Bassi just moves himself up into 5th place for the moment. Jamie Fluke, Apex Racing UK, number 49 machine on track, working himself past the start-finish line. Where's he going to go? Answer is onto a hot lap then. Jamie Fluke, Apex Racing UK. We're right on board with him for a few moments time here, Johnny, because actually Apex Racing is one of those teams we're going to be keeping a very close eye on this race, because they've had good races, they've had very good races, but now the second half of the season, this is where you make your money, quite literally.
Yeah, you do. Well, a very small amount of money, like a nickel, because it's sim racing, but eventually the market
Oh,
will
come
grow.
on, minimum $1,000 if you get in the top 5.
Yeah, that's true, exactly. Well, I mean, people complain about all these contracts NBA players are getting and stuff. Well, you can't really complain. That's their market, and the sim racing market will grow sometime soon. But that's a conversation for another day anyway, because we could talk about that for hours. We know as well, looking at Graham Carroll in P2, his first race with Team Redline was the best driver that wasn't named Martin Kroenke. Ended up in P2 again here, Will. P2 again for him. So without Gregor Hutu on the grid right now, it looks like Graham Carroll's really leading away this Redline team.
Yeah, and we've got to ask the question. We'll talk about this in our pre-race show. Has Hutu given up for the year?
Well, we don't know. We know he moved places, so he's still setting up his rig. If it's taken him 3 weeks, someone's going to give him
I'm going to say that's procrastination right there. I mean, you can say for 1 week, you can say for 2 weeks maybe, but actually it's been 5 weeks total now. Gregor Hutu. The questions are going to come into play. Has Gregor Hutu conceded defeat in the 2017 iRacing World Championship Series? And actually then, it's can we have a miracle of miracles for the likes of Bono Howes and Graham Carroll?
Yeah, let's see if Bono can win the title. I mean, he hasn't won a race this year either, and so that would be a long shot for Bono, and he hasn't even been on the podium. Don't forget, Will, he's had a couple of 4th place finishes at Montreal and Silverstone, but he hasn't actually been on the podium at all, and he's currently 2nd in the championship. But going back to the lap times anyway, Kroenke doing his signature move of waiting to the last minute before he does his 2nd lap. Having a look at Bono Haas, his qualifying session's done and dusted. He will start no greater than P2. Graham Carroll, though, on a quick one here through Villeneuve.
Yeah, there is Graham Carroll then. We were right on board of him for a moment here. RaceSpotTV, fan immersion. We've been talking about this corner all day long, Johnny, but Acqua Minerale is such a beautiful corner for these cars to go through. I mean, the Variante Bassa later on, I mean, I don't like that corner. It is the most pointless 90-degree right-left chicane I've seen in all the motor racing. But Acqua Minerale is a beautiful set of corners as Graham Carroll now exits himself through Ravazza 2 down towards the start-finish line. Let's see whether he can increase on his time. The answer will come up, and the answer is going to be no.
He backed out.
Yep.
So Graham just realized at the last second, looking at his deltas, and he would not improve on his 1 minute 17.460. You look at the Variante Alta, you said before, from my experience, you never get the corner right. It's just how much you get it wrong, and if you didn't get it wrong by too much, then you've done a good job, I think. So Graham Carroll there, obviously not the best of lap for him, and you'll only start from the second row at best. Backham's qualifying session is done for the VRS Commander Simsport. Cemberlik Bussi's out of there, Shotos too. The top order is really done and dusted, Will. It's about the rest of these guys down the pack. What can Isaac Price do? Marcus Jensen as well, who from P7, still yet to complete his lap.
Ilkka Haapala is another driver, for example, Orion Racing Team. P number 18 right now. That is way below what Ilkka Haapala is used to. So for the likes of Orion Race Team in the second half of the season, this is when they generally come into their own because they are team consistency, shall we say.
There they are. As Jensen up into P4. Whoa,
nice.
Good lap time from Marcus Jensen. And he's, I mean, I'm not just saying this now because we've seen him up in the P4, but he did start 10th at Montreal. And he's only started 13th from at Monza too. So he's had a good race. Started 6th last round too at Silverstone. He's just had some great results over the past few rounds. So very impressive and keeps improving this season.
Kazuki Umeshima sets himself onto a hot lap with 4 minutes remaining in the session. Let's see then what Kazuki Umeshima can do on the exit of Tamburello. Now down the shortest straight away in towards Villeneuve. Left-hander, right-hander, high speed. And he gets a big wiggle there.
What a save. Bad car control, good save. And he continues away, and he's lost a lot of time there. And down the order as well, Stephen Michaels now coming across the line. And he's a driver who's definitely wants a lot out of himself, Stephen Michaels. Speaking to him during the week, across the line, no improvement. And you'll only start no greater than that 8th row from P15.
Ilkka Haapala is back out on track then, P20 right now for the Orion Race Team car. It's currently Kroenke from Howes, from Carroll, from Jensen, from Backham. Short Horse, Bullet Bassi. Isaac Price just moving himself up into 7th place. That means Bullet Bassi down into 8th. Yeah, Faz into 9th and Yoto Saito into the 10th place. Let's go back. Kazuki Umeshima currently in 13th place. He had a bad Villeneuve chicane. And it looks like he's been keeping that car cool. That car cool even. So he's going to try and do one more lap now. Because I don't think, that lap's over for him. Passes good. Yes, will now just head himself past the stripe as well in the course sim racing car. Past the stripe, P will come. Currently P14. And onto a final flying lap he will go.
Yeah, so unsure at the moment in terms of when he's actually setting a real lap time. This is it. Look at Jurgis right now. Through turn number 4 of the Tamburello. Into Villeneuve. Throwing the car into the entrance. Straight line braking. And then throwing it right. Using all the exit curb. Trail braking into 7. Although he runs a little bit wide. He goes for a wider apex line there. More like a Jensen Button driving style. But picks up the throttle on the exit. Blind through the rise here to Piratella. You'd say he hit the apex there in the Piratella, but I think he had a few more millimeters to go, and then straight lining that Acqua Minerale chicane as much as possible, and not the best lap from Jurgis right now.
It's not. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to turn our attention over to the driver of Martin Kroenke. This is where he normally goes faster than anyone else. Pole lap time on board with Martin Kroenke. And ladies and gentlemen, he goes faster, like he does all season long, 0.2 of a second faster. Once again, is there any way we can stop Martin Kroenke in this campaign here, Johnny? I honestly think not.
Oh, that was a brilliant pole lap through Aqua Minerale, just pinpoint accuracy on the limit, using all of the curb. And the car's so stable too. I'm not sure how when he was on the limit at Piratella. I thought he could have maybe gained a bit more time, and then I think looking at the lap time, I thought, well, that's a little bit harsh to criticize that because he's 3.5 tenths up into pole. What I've learned is that you're never setting a perfect lap as a driver, but that's as close as it gets right there. Good stuff.
There is a look then at your qualifying results. Round number 7 of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Martin Kroenke, lap number 3, goes faster than anyone else. Once again, 1/3 of a second between himself and Bono House in P number 2. House lining up alongside Kroenke here for the 7th round of the championship. Graham Carroll in 3rd, like we saw a few weeks ago at Silverstone on the cleaner side of the track. Bear that one in mind. Marcus Jensen in 4th place. Matt Backham then. Commander Simsports in 5th. And Freak Sure Horse for Team Redline in the 6th position. Isaac Price leads a row of core sim racing drivers in row number 4 with Yao Vaz and Yuto Saito for Orion Race Team and Radicals Online in row number 5. Heading on back, Daniel Arndt Wensing, Mogar Filo, row 6. Kazuki Umeshima, Basilis Gergis there, row 7. Stephen Michaels, David Corpse, Ilka Hapola, Jamie Fluke, Marta Piatella, and Balaz Remniak round out your top 20. It is until you get to P number 22 that you fall outside the 1 second window. Kevin Ellis Jr. is in P number 22. There are the remainder of the results up on your screen for you right now. We will take a break, and when we come back, we will dissect everything from qualifying as we head ourselves down towards the starting grid for round number 7 of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
iRacing you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live as well. Martin Kroenke, once again, pole position. We've got to be honest here, Johnny. He's not been pole position every single race of the series, but it does seem to be. He likes to be out front, and I saw this amazing stat by Dave, who does all of the news articles for iRacing Live and does all the editing. 40-something laps this season, Martin Kroenke hasn't led. Of those laps, only 12 laps have been led by someone other than a Commander Simsports driver.
Yeah, exactly. We had Berryman, Graham Carroll as well, leading a few laps. So Yeah, Mitchell de Jong led quite a lot at Monza too, and I'm not sure where he is today. Obviously, he's on a part-time schedule, but he's both Mitchell de Jong, Hutu, maybe Graham Carroll, but I'm not 100% sure, have been the closest to challenge Martin Kroenke. But let's see what Bottas can do. I want to see his first podium in this series. It's very, very surprising that someone who's second in the championship, he's been such a good, strong driver. Today, it could be the best chance for Bottas to take victory. Probably not a good chance because Martin Kroenke is up on pole by 3.5 tenths.
And that's a big amount. We're going to bring Paul Smith in then to review what happened on RaceSpot Race Day. And, well, Paul, what, again, we had was 2 fantastic races. Is a simple version.
Yeah, I mean, you had 2 different races as well. The Formula Renaults, they give us great entertainment, and especially around this track. It's a track that just... It demands patience from drivers. Johnny mentioned it in the broadcast as well, and really we saw that from only a few drivers. There was a lot of mistakes being made out there. No real big multi-car incidents where multiple drivers got taken out. So really, it's basically a case of it was all about the patience in that first race. The second race, the Porsche Super Cup, quite frankly, is one of the best races I've ever commentated on, and I can say that with confidence. Those two, Joshua Rogers and Joni Häkkinen at the front, absolutely fantastic racing. You know, they just wouldn't give each other an inch. You know, there was no, it was just fantastic. I can't get words out. It was that good a race. I do suggest, if you haven't seen it, go watch that Super Cup race because it was unbelievable. But we had battles all the way through the field as well. It wasn't just those two at the front that were battling. It was all the way through. There was battles going on. So it was superb racing. And again, generally, on the clean side as well.
I've got a question for you here, Paul. What can stop Martin Kroenke?
A large meteorite heading for the planet Earth, specifically his house. I just think he's unstoppable at the moment. He's just in that groove, is Martin, and he's got. I mean, I've just watched his qualifying lap back, and it's just absolutely on the button, every corner, absolutely spot on. He's just a machine at the moment.
And then, Johnny, of course, we talk about the fact that in the support races that we've had this season, we've had great racing. We have also had great racing in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, but the headlines have been dominated by Kroenke. But alongside that, we have had fantastic battles, the likes of Apex versus Redline versus Radicals versus Inex versus Orion versus Core. I mean, there is a lot of battling that goes on versus Vortex and Movano.
Yeah. So wait, what was your question? I've just heard
lots and lots of battling.
Yeah, lots of battling. We have had a lot of battling, and so it hasn't always been at the front. I mean, apart from Monza, where Kroenke and de Jong were separated by less than a second at the line, there really hasn't been any other close battle for the lead. But we were expecting a lot out of Graham Carroll for Silverstone in his first race with Redline. We'll see if there's any improvement now. He's had a 3-week break. I'm surprised we only had 30 drivers show up to qualifying. I said this 4 or 5 times today, but these guys need to start showing up, because if we don't show up for our jobs, we get fired from the job. So I don't know why these teams don't kick the drivers out for not showing up for their races.
There is a minimum participation requirement that will be enforced, if not this year, for next year, to ensure that drivers that do get, and you've got to remember at the same time, Johnny, it is an opportunity to race in the World Championship Grand Prix Series, and there are standard behaviours that come into play, but there's also going to be participation standards that come into play as well. And you don't want to, and again, I'm not going to use Hutu as a thing here because he's only missed 2 races, but you don't want to be the drivers that just like, oh, I can't be bothered anymore, throw my toys out the pram, metaphorically, and go and do something else. Actually, what it does is it makes it seem less valuable to the drivers that do participate in the entire season. Yeah,
well, Hutu's missed 4 races in his entire career. Yeah, and that's out of 110 plus, and now you add these 2 in, so you can't really get on his back, not his back, whatever. You can't criticize him too much.
Hutu does have a back, despite the fact we think he is an android, an alien. He does actually have a back. I'm just saying.
He does have a back.
I've seen him in real life.
No, he's good. Well, he's apparently sorting out some issues. He's not procrastinating. That was a joke before, ladies and gentlemen. He is sorting out a few issues. Should be back on the grid soon. I think this season now, do we almost hand the championship to Kroenke? Like, I mean, even if Kroenke stuffs up and spins, if he has a spin, Kroenke still has a chance of finishing in the top 3. That's like, surely that's enough to win the championship. He's got over a race advantage. He's leading by 50 points over Bono. The maximum is 39 for a win. You get 35 for the win, 3 for, 1 for fastest lap, 3 for leading the most laps. And well, actually, I got that wrong.
I'm going to first take you again here. It's not the points that's the thing for me. It's that anything can happen in the World. I feel like Mario Walker when I say this. Anything can happen in the World Championship Series, and it does usually happen. You think back, for example, to Hutu's desperate last few races in 2014, where he had 2 DNFs. That could still happen
you're right.
to Martin Kroenke. So he cannot stop caring until that championship is in his hands. He's got the points advantage, and even then, I don't think he's going to relax, to be honest.
No, I'm over exaggerating, but as I said, look, he's got 50 points in the lead, 39 for a victory, and it's as I said, 35 for the win, 3 bonus points for a win. So technically, you get 38. But then they also say by leading that final lap to win the race, you get another point. So it is 39 for a victory. That's how that's calculated. Look, I don't know. If I knew the solution of how to beat Kroenke, I'd be out there right now, instead of commentating, coming up with a way to beat him. But I can't, so that's why I'm sitting here. But to focus our attention away from Martin, because he's really been the star of the cast right now, back in the latter stages of the top 10, Tembulik Basi, Yavaz, Yuta Saito, Daito, and it's disrespectful for how the first race of his career, he had a P5 finish last year at Interlagos, and it was completely overlooked. Guy is quick. He's got to figure out his troubles this season. He hasn't had the best of 2017s. Let's hope this race kicks things off for him.
Well, we'll head ourselves into predictions for this motor race. We've got ourselves Rachel Whiteford, Paul Smith still here. I'll go to Rachel Whiteford first. Can anyone beat Martin Kroenke this time around?
You know what, this season I don't think we can, Will. I think Martin Kroenke's in a position where he's in the right headspace finally, and it's taken him a long time to get there, but he's been strong from the opening of the gate in this one, and I think he's finally reached that zenith point that Hutu reached, and he's just on it right now. And Gregor's met his match. These two are equals in every regard. It's going to be an incredible season, especially once Hutu comes back, and if he can find his mojo, this will be an explosive end to the season.
You can check Rachel Whiteford's commentary of the race on RaceSpot.tv/live as well on our Twitter. That is twitter.com/RaceSpotTV. Paul Smith, of course, lead commentator for RaceSpot Race Day. Paul, well, you've seen a number of races with Gregor Hutu, Martin Kroenke in it. You've seen many races with Martin Kroenke leading the way. You've seen also in your time a lot of Martin Kroenke being cautious, but I call it aggressively cautious. It's not the kind of ruthless aggression like you and I laugh about every so often, but I was saying that you're probably going to say Martin Kroenke as well, right?
With the level that he showed in that qualifying lap alone, I would say Kroenke for the win. But don't discount people like Bono House and also Graham Carroll as well. They're going to be up there fighting for it. And if they work together, and this is a crucial thing, if they can work together, they can keep with and attack Martin Kroenke, because they want to draw him into a fight. They need to get him involved in a fight, because if they're too busy with each other, they will just let him get away. So really, they need to work together to try and keep Martin Kroenke in that one, and then a little bit of strategy, maybe a little bit of play with that could just move things in their favour. But I just think that Martin Kroenke is just a little bit too strong this week.
You can catch Paul Smith directing coverage of the iRacing Grand Prix Series. That is every Sunday here on RaceSpot TV, of course. Lead commentator for RaceSpot TV, RaceSpot Race Day, that takes part as the precursor to the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Over to you, Johnny. Who's it going to be?
Well, it's going to be Martin Kroenke, obviously, but let's hope maybe possibly Alex Bergeron, Ferry Kern from the back of the grid can win this race. No, I'm joking. Maybe not win the race, but maybe with a good result. I mean, they're way off the pace right now in the 1:19s, but let's hope they got some good race pace for them. Yeah, but it's surely going to be Martin Kroenke.
So it's Cronkes all round. We're probably going to eat our words knowing our luck at the end of this motor race. But that is qualifying over and done with. The next time we'll see you will be in a few minutes' time here for race coverage here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. Don't forget, of course, for more information about RaceSpotTV, just visit us online, RaceSpot.tv, on Facebook, facebook.com/RaceSpotTV, on Twitter, same applies, at RaceSpotTV, on YouTube, same applies. You know the story by now. Go and check us out. Also, of course, all the best sim races in the world on iRacing.com/live. We'll be back in a few moments' time.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
The NASCAR Peak Series, powered by iRacing, is the premier NASCAR esports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a three-time NASCAR World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign, and as it has been for the 7 years prior, it is no longer going to be a straight shot to the championship. We are going to see the biggest change in this championship picture in series history, as for the first time ever, there will be a chase for the championship. We're going to go into the Homestead Miami Speedway at the end of the season with the 4 best oval sim racing drivers in the world absolutely tied in the championship. You just got to beat the other 3 guys out and you will become an official NASCAR champion. You're going to get yourself a NASCAR championship ring and, of course, $10,000. These are the iRacing Esport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. You can catch it all season long, live coverage on iRacing.com/live.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Welcome to Imola, the track that is the closest Formula One track to the headquarters of Ferrari over at Fiorano, and also the track that since 1980 has hosted some of the craziest races in Grand Prix racing. 1982, of course, the year of the FISA Foca Wars, when it came to full tilt, and it saw, of course, Didier Pironi stealing the race win away from Gilles Villeneuve, the last lap on the motor race. That ultimately caused Gilles Villeneuve his life a couple of weeks later. 1994, one of the darkest days in Grand Prix racing that actually saw a number of safety changes to this racetrack involving 2 new chicanes, one at Tamburello, one at Villeneuve. Since then, the track has been reconfigured. That was in the late 2000s, as we now have ourselves a different exit from Ravazza towards the start-finish line, and that is what we have the track for here today for the 7th round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Worthington with Jonathan Simon, as we are, Johnny, 2.5 minutes away from the green flag.
And 2.5 minutes away. Yeah, exactly. 2.5 minutes away from some brilliant racing for sure around Imola. Had a good race here last year. And let's see what happens this year. It's going to bottleneck into those first few corners at the start. That's going to cause some chaos, some quite a, you know, these drivers haven't raced in a few weeks as well, so they're quite feisty, and that's so important at the start around the 4.9 kilometers, 3.1 miles of Imola, 17 turns. The last 2 don't count. It's only really 15 turns. And as you said, Will, we don't use that final chicane anymore. We used to have in the old layout. Now it's just a straight line on the main straight, and a DRS zone too, one of the best overtaking spots on this circuit on the run to Tamburello.
Yeah, there's a look at your championship standings heading into this. The 7th round of the championship, Martin Kroenke leads away, 234 points, a full 50 points ahead of Bono House. Gregor Hutu is, as it stands right now, out of the championship. It is a 2-horse race between Martin Kroenke and Bono House, but the thing is, Martin Kroenke's won every round of this season so far. House will need to win everything and hope that Kroenke at least crashes out of 2 races if he ever wants a chance of winning here.
He does. That's just how dominant Mr. Martin Kroenke's been, and we'll see if he's comfortable towards the end of the season. It's a very short season as well, 12 races, which I hope does change for next year, because as far as I know, and speaking to a lot of drivers behind the scenes, it's really 50-50. Some do like the 12-race format. A lot of really hate it and want it to go back to the 16, but regardless of that, Kroenke's made the most, and 16 or 12 races, Will, he's won 100% of them this year. It doesn't really matter.
Yep, here's the track conditions then heading into Imola. And we are looking at air temp of 73 degrees, wind speeds of 13 kilometers an hour, humidity of 32%. As we're now going to have a look through our starting grid for this motor race then. As we bring it up on screen, it is Martin Kroenke with pole position over Bono House by over 0.3 of a second. Graham Carroll in third place, Marcus Jensen in P number 4. P number 5 will go to Matt Backham, Frank Shawhorse in 6th, Isaac Price in 7th, and Chem Bullock Bassi in the 8th position. 9th place goes to Yao Vaz, 10th place to Yuta Saito. Rest of the results coming up on your screen. 10 seconds. Floor's yours, Johnny. What's going to happen in this motor race?
Well, I'm not sure. We'll find out in just under a minute's time when the green flag waves and Martin Kroenke leads the field away from pole position. Around about the top 10, Bullock Bassi, Vaz, Saito are your dark horses there. Whether or not they can get in front of Isaac Price, anybody else as well. And it's good to see Isaac Price in P7 showing some good pace. And for the race, it's going to be interesting. 62 laps of action. We know where the overtaking spots are. Into the Tamburello, into pretty much the first real corner on the racetrack. We've got the Variante Alte, Ravazza, Piratella. They're all brake spots.
They are indeed. As we say, we are going to go racing for 62 laps here today as the drivers now head themselves down to the starting grid for this round number 7 of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. So those of you watching us on YouTube, on Jinx TV, hello and welcome. Lights are on, engines are revving. We are ready to go here at Imola. Green flag is out, lights are out. Here we go. A good start then immediately by Martin Kroenke as they come down in towards Tamburello for the first time. Side by side, Graham Carroll right now with a driver from Kawano Sim Sports. Graham Carroll actually is under a bit of pressure from Matt Backham. We've got a car off there. That's an Orion Race Team car. I think that was Yao Vaz. Behind we've got another car off there as well as they head themselves down into Villeneuve for the first time. Can they all survive it through there? The answer's going to be more so than Tamburello, Johnny.
Yep, and Vaz all the way down into P19 in a battle right now with Paul Ilbrink for the P19 spot. So Paul Ilbrink in 20th. Mac Backham off the line, amazing, just brilliant. And it's unfortunate he couldn't capitalize on getting past Graham Carroll, who had a poor getaway from that clean side of the grid. And we saw in our support series earlier, that dirty side of the grid for P2, P4, etc. just didn't get off the line. And this race, much different.
Let's replay. Look at the start there from Matt Backham. Perfect on the revs. Moves himself past one driver. Moves himself past Graham Carroll for a moment, but the outside line at Tamburello did not work for him. They go side by side through Tamburello for the first time. We then will see the issues behind as we will try and see if we can catch out Ilka Hapola, etc. And we see Yao Vaz, of course, was involved in this at the very start of this motor race, down into P number 19. Here we are on board of him. He's fine for the first part of the corner, then just gets pushed wide there, gets two wheels off the ground as well. Yao Vaz now actually up into P number 18, but it really did concertina up that middle part of your field.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. So, you know, he's up in a P16. There might have been an incident in front of him, and it might have involved a course sim racing driver. So trying to find out who that is, but right now Vaz is trying to limit as much damage as possible. Good to see Bonahas as well within a second of Martin Kroenke, although Kroenke is starting to break away through Aqua Minerale now in the middle part of the lap. But Carroll, Backham, Jensen as well, still staying strong in 5th. And apart from that, the top orders stayed stagnant. The rest of the field, more chaos.
It is. It's chaos all over the field right now. Live timing and scoring is now available. RaceSpot.tv/timing. Also get social with us. Facebook.tv/RaceSpotTV, at RaceSpotTV on Twitter. Martin Kroenke leads away already. The important thing, though, is here, Johnny, he is 1.3 seconds ahead of Bonner House.
Yeah, wow. I'm not sure where all that lap time came that lap. Hopefully it was just some bad lap or something for Bono. That's a lot of time lost, but Schotthorst and Jensen in a fight, and Schotthorst makes his way through into P5. So the Team Redline driver who needs really needs a good result right now, because I'm not saying he's under pressure, but I think we could see a lot more out of Frank Schothorst, who's one of the quickest drivers on the grid on the right day, heading through 7. And Jensen now, I mean, what's his job, Will, for the rest of this race? Is just to keep clean, right, and get that top 10 result.
Well, yeah, and that is the thing. Different drivers have different aspirations in terms of this motor race. Down into mid-pack, actually, you can see there are some very close gaps between drivers. Mogar Filo, Kirk, Zuki Umashima, Passes, Gergis, for example, are in very close proximity right now as we ride on board with Passes Gergis. He has got himself Kazuki Umashima just ahead of him. In fact, Stephen Michaels is also right behind him down in P number 18 right now. This is down, sorry, this is actually P number 9, 10, 11. So it's Gergis versus Filo versus Chembel at Bassi, his own teammate right behind him. So there are a lot of battles going on, but what we've seen in RaceSpot Race Day so far is that a passing can be difficult. You can make a pass into Ravazza, you can make a pass down into Tamburello, but after that, you've got to be very brave. You do. And DRS always helps too, as they head towards Tamburello. Stephen Michaels, no straight line speed at all. The rest of the drivers in front, Ellis Jr., Vaz creeping in on Balazaz Romaniec. And this is down in that mid-pack that Will was speaking about, all for P15, really. There's quite a train building up now. We just seem to have lost Johnny for the moment there. So here's a look at your top 8 as it stands so far. Here we are. It is Martin Kroenke leading Bono House by 1.9 seconds. Then Graham Carroll in 3rd, Matt Backham in 4th, Frank Schothorst in 5th, Marcus Jensen 6th, Isaac Price and Daniel Wensing. They round out your top 8 as it stands in this field. And well, we have got 2 retirees. They are Fabrizio Gobbi, who is stuck long-term on pit road right now. We can just cycle in and have a look on him. There is Fabrizio Gobbi in the Frostmaster Varna racing car. And then we've also got David Core. He is officially out of this motor race. But there is Kroenke coming past the line. Gap between himself and Bono House now up to 2 seconds already.
Yep, so I'm back as well after those technical issues, but Bono is really under the clutches and under pressure from Graham Carroll, his teammate behind. Graham, one of the bluntest people you meet. He's just so straightforward, doesn't sugarcoat anything. That's what makes his personality so brilliant as well. Heading towards turn 7 now. He won't be satisfied, Graham, with P3. If there's, Martin you'll live with, but Bono in front, his teammate, he won't be happy with. He wants to get in front, and right now he's got the pace to do so. There's Bono Haas, who is really using the season right now. I think he has to shift his focus, is just learn as much as he can and really build a foundation for 2018.
We've had an incident. It's involving Mogar Filo and Ilka Hapala, by the looks of it. Both of them are coming up on my timing screens as being out of this motor race, and I think the 2 incidents are related. So Ilka Hapala first, let's have a look. As he comes past the start and finish line, there are actually 2 separate incidents. We're right on board with Ilka Hapala. Oh my word! Down into the inside at Tamburello. That deserves another look immediately. As, I don't know, I think that wheel just turned left on him. Oh! Wicked impact there for Ilka Hapala. But then also, we have the driver of Mogar Filo having another incident as he comes down into Tamburello corner, perhaps on the exit of Tamburello. Mogar Filo, loses it, spins it around, hits another car. He's out of the race, Johnny.
Yep, so 2 weird incidents there, and the Hapala one, it's hard to judge. We don't have the data. Either there was a wheel failure or he lost it because he did have DRS engaged, but it might have just been a wheel failure. So unsure what happened there for Ilka Hapala. And wow, I mean, the Mogar Filo one as well. Similar, just hard contact. Got clipped by someone as well who was trying to avoid the incident. And
it was a Frostmaster really car, I can tell you that.
Was that a Movano car then?
Yeah.
And so, not sure who it was around him at the time, but regardless, anyway, they're out of the event. Jobby, De Corps, Filio 2, Ilka Hapala. So we have our 4 retirements, 26 drivers remaining.
Yeah, as we'll just have a look here, we can see Thomas Merkleck actually at the rear of the field. I've got a feeling that, no, he wasn't involved in that incident because he's, of course, different team, Sim Racing Bay team car. Graham Carroll right now in that third place versus Bono House. And this is the issue when you've got two teammates so close together. And of course, we've got to remember, they are being hounded down right now by the driver of Matt Backham. Matt Backham is only 2/3 of a second behind this duo of drivers. And well, Backham would love a podium finish here today.
No, of course he would. He'd love it. He'd want to be up there too, considering his teammate is leading the World Championship. It's really been a learning curve season for Matt Backham. And he's really proven all the critics wrong in terms of his consistency, his poise. Well, his poise is, it really can't be doubted this year. He's done such a great job in that sense. And right now, he's got a shot at P2 now behind the two red line drivers. Now, Will, if he can't get it done, we have to look for the first pit stops. And those first pit stops will occur around lap 24 is when the window will open, maybe a lap earlier, depending on how drivers can manage these tires in the 37-degree track temperatures we currently have.
Yeah, we've been saying all season long that drivers are going to do a one-stopper, and every time we say the word two-stopper, they were like, nah, not doing that. But you can see the lap gaps last time by. Backing in that dirty air is now kind of on pace with those other drivers. But we look back at Cembuluk Bassi versus Pascalis Gergis. That is going on for P number 9 on track. And well, Buluk Bassi is hunting down Gergis by minutiae amounts right now. But this is for P number 9 on track. And there's Kazuki Mishima, Martin Piatella, Jamie Flick, and Kevin Ellis Jr. right behind him.
Yep, so the two core sim racing drivers here. Buluk Bassi, who, oh, look at him in the braking zone. Deep. And he compromises his exit though, so probably not the best option to do right there, but he definitely looks faster than his teammate, the Greek freak, Pascalis Gergis. They're coming towards Villeneuve. On towards turn 7 here. Drivers taking a wide line through here, not trail braking. You can see the difference in style, because I would, you know, I always trail brake through 7, and you know, that's just my style of driving, whereas some drivers like to take care of the tires a little bit better, and they take that corner a little bit differently. Through Aqua Minerale now, straight lining the car in the braking zone, using all the curbs, all the width of the racetrack, which Martin Kroenke does so well, and that's why his lap times are so quick.
Pretty sure horse over Matt Backham, and let's not forget that one. He's in P number 5. He is keeping up with Matt Backham, who in turn is keeping it up with Graham Carroll Bono House. So Backham is in a real red line sandwich right now in terms of your top 5 positions. Isaac Price started running in some place right now. Would you argue that Isaac Price is in a bit of a difficult position, knowing the fact that he is now 1.4 seconds behind Marcus Jensen in the Apex Racing UK machine and has not gained any positions really in this mud race?
Well, he's got to look to strategy then, because there's no other way right now. If you're driving, you know, if you're driving 100% in a race, that's qualifying laps really. That's like the last lap of qualifying, but right now he's probably at race pace doing about 90, 95, trying to minimize his mistakes. Now, if you start pushing and he makes too many mistakes and loses time, there's no point. Just settle for as best as you can achieve with the setup you have. He is the highest placed core sim racing driver, so for their setup and for his skill level too, P7's a great result.
But still, it is only P7 as it stands right now for Isaac Price. I know he's one of those other drivers that really want to push things forward in terms of his team. Kazuki Umeshima right there and Martin Piatella. That battle is still going on for P number 11 on track over that high curve there at the Variante Alta as well. Piatella in 11th place again. He's about 3 places below what we normally expect him to see.
Yeah, exactly. So he had a podium here last year, don't forget, Martin Piatella. I'd say 3-4 places lower. He should be 10 places higher. You know, the guys was so quick here last year at Imola, so it's a surprise this round he didn't get things right. It's all about qualifying. He's had an Olli Pakala style 2017 qualifying starting down the back of the order. Ollie's struggled with that this season, so no Ollie here today anyway. But Marty's got Cembuluk Bassi in front, Gergis, the two guys we're watching before, Will, so let's see what he can do with this battle.
Yeah, indeed. So as the gap between those two is half a second right now. We talk about overtaking being difficult. That's the thing we're seeing up and down the field right now. But out front, Martin Kroenke has got the advantage over Bono House. And there's the last lap times showing up in your screen. Actually, Bono House gained a little bit that last lap, but he had lost a total of 5/10 of a second the 2 laps previous. So not really a gain of Bono House's terms. But we have got to keep an eye out, though, as the tyres progress to see whether Bono House can close up a little bit more.
Yeah, well, he did stomp his way through the Variante Alta. I thought you could only do that in the Porsche Super Cup. He's been doing it in the McLaren MP430, and they really have to gain as much time as they can through the Variante Alta, the corner where you never get it right. It's always how wrong do you get it, and can you limit how wrong you get it? As Diogo Oliveira may have had some troubles. He's a minute behind the pack now, unfortunately for Diogo, so something's gone wrong for him anyway. He's made a pit stop too, and he's down the back of the pack.
As it stands then, Martin Kroenke last time by was 2/10 of a second faster than Bono House in terms of your race lead. So that graphic you saw up on your screen behind, Carroll versus Bakken versus Shawhorse, that one is continuing, but there's no real inroads that have been made so far. And I'm not going to call this a boring race out front, but I will say that overtaking does seem to be at a premium right now.
Yeah, don't call it boring. I got in trouble for calling a series boring about 2 months ago. And I thought to myself, well, millions of F1 fans should be apologizing too if I have to apologize. So we always have to be careful when we say the big B word as out front anyway. It is what it is. I mean, top 5 separated by 4.7 seconds. Now, you might think this isn't that dominant for Martin Kroenke. It's only 2.8 seconds. Well, it's only lap 11 of the event, don't forget. And so we have another 51 remaining. And this is what we saw at Silverstone too, Will, is that Kroenke just slowly eases things as here we go. Craig Schotthorst in front. Mac Backham gets past Graham Carroll, actually.
There we are. We'll get a replay of that one for you then, as Matt Backham moves himself up into 3rd place in this field here this afternoon. And, well, there's a replay. On the exit of Rivazza number 2, we are on board with Matt Backham. DRS is open. Thank you and good night is what Matt Backham says. Even if his camera angle didn't do that for us, it's a thank you and good night moment there for Matt Backham. He's now up into 3rd place.
Yeah, good stuff from Mac, and he looks quicker than the red line drivers now, so not surprised by that overtake at all. And he's just over a second behind Bono, so he's not going to have DRS. And that's going to play to the advantage of Graham Carroll this lap. Here they stomp their way through the Variante Alta, minimizing any time lost. Graham, poor exit out of there. Very, very poor. I mean, his teammate Craig Schotthorst behind is closer to Graham than Graham is to Mac.
Yeah, as that is the battle going on right now between Bono House, Matt Backham, Graham Carroll, Craig Shawhorse. This is for P2, 3, 4, and 5 on track as they come past the line. The gap is 1.3 seconds then between Bono House and Matt Backham. Behind the ongoing battle, it's a 3-horse battle right now. At the front, you've got Pastos Gergis, Martin Piatella in 10th, and Kazuki Umeshima in P number 11 as Gergis looks to the outside as they come down in towards turn number 1. And while Piatella able to get then the position over Pastos Gergis, Piatella up into P number 9.
Yeah, good stuff from Marty. And right now, that's another core driver knocked off. So what's happened to Bullock Bussy? Did something happen to him? He must have... Did I miss that? Did he make an error somewhere that I've missed? Or he was right with Gergis?
He must have had a bad lap somewhere because he's still classified on track. He's not had a pit stop, so he must have had a spin somewhere that we didn't see.
Yeah, so he lost 3 seconds on lap 11. And he's having a battle with Gergis. So, well, actually, well, just hearing word, he was forced off the racetrack, by the way, by Marty Piatella. But might have been a racing incident anyway. But Piatella's barged his way through. Up in the 9th now at the end of this lap. He's got 4 seconds, though, to Vensing. And Daniel Vensing has been Radical's, you know, the right way to put it is promising hope for 2017.
Yeah, we've got to replay what happened to Chembo at Bassi actually now up on your screen. Here we are, down in towards Tamburello. Here, Corsim Racing and Koana Sim Sports coming together down at Tamburello. And then you can see that Bullock Bassi loses time as he comes back out onto track. And, well, he was very lucky to actually keep that place from Kevin Ellis Jr. when all is said and done. And actually, he's pulled up that advantage over Kevin Ellis Jr. to up to 1 second.
Yep, so good stuff. And now it's important for Chem, who's had some great results this year anyway. We look at Montreal, for example, had the P6 that he had there, strong, as Gravel's kicked up at the exit of Villeneuve. And Omashima as well there from P11, Will, on the back of Pascal Sturgis. Going through Piratella right now. Omashima has been another promising hope for Radicals too. His second driver for that team has shown some good results in the McLaren.
Indeed, so that is Kazuki Umashima running himself in P number 11, though we are going to go towards the front of the field. We're going to ride a lap on board with Mac Backham. This is a little bit of RaceSpotTV fan as Backham comes past the start-finish line. There is the lap on board of high speed with Matt Backham. Well, Backham is trying to close up to Bonner House here, Johnny, but he's not really able to do much. I think we just lost Johnny there for a moment, but anyway, Matt Backham is still in the third place. Bonner House is in second place. We're going to go back a little bit, though, and have a look at Umashima versus Gergis, because this battle continues to go on. We're 10th place on track right now. And Johnny, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but Umashima versus Gergis, that is a big battle right now.
Yeah, it is. So going back to what you said earlier as well, along with Umashima, Gergis, Backham was 1.3 seconds behind Bono. Now he's 7/10ths behind. So I think small steps for Mac Backham as he butchers the Variante Alta, and that could be trouble for him, although he picks it up on the exit. It could be trouble for him across the main straight here, Will, because Graham Carroll's very close behind.
Yeah, but also Gergis was right behind Umashima. Nothing's going to happen there. Let's keep an eye then, first of all, on Carroll versus the driver of Matt Backham as they come past the stripe. The answer is going to be 4/10ths of a second, but also Gergis now to Kazuki Umashima. And remembering the fact there's no draft ahead of Kazuki Umashima, Gergis cannot catch up at all.
No, well, he needs a top 10 result for Pascal Sturgis, who in this core sim racing team, he wants the best out of himself. A lot of drivers do, but Sturgis takes that to a next level. His best result was an 11th position at Montreal, so he definitely wants more than that too, to set a new personal best.
Yeah, indeed. So as we can see there, Gergis versus Umashima now working himself up towards Tosa. Actually, Johnny, talk us through a couple of corners here. From here to the end of the lap on board of Gergis. Just talk about the difficulties that these drivers have.
Lots of difficulties, especially into Piratella here at turn 8, where it's just a blind apex, struggle to see the corner. You really have to nail the apex through Aqua Minerale, one of the toughest corner complexes on the calendar, really. Uphill traction zone on the exit, so you're able to apply the throttle early and get away with it because of the gravity, and just tiptoeing your way through the worst chicane in the world here through Variante Alta. It's just annoying. and then you start to diagonal straight line your way through this next straight. Downhill braking zone into Ravazza. So easy to run deep into the gravel, so you have to brake a slight touch earlier because of the downhill aspect through the exit here, which is so important. And then on the throttle, flicking on DRS if you're within 1 second of the car in front, which Sturgis is. All the straight line speed in the world for him right now, up to 330 kilometers an hour before he maxes out.
Staying on board with Curtis then for a moment there. As you can see, the battle still goes on with him and Kazuki Umeshima. But at the front of your field, the gap is now up to 4 seconds between Hutu, Martin Kroenke and Bono House right now. And really, Martin Kroenke is pulling away from this one right now. So, Martin Kroenke comes past the start and finish line, gap to himself, and Bono House is 4 seconds on track between House and Matt Backham. Is only 4 tenths of a second, and Backham does seem to get a good run. In fact, he's looking down to the inside as they come down in towards Tamburello, and Backham up into second place, but that was mighty close there, Johnny.
Yeah, almost touched and almost took a piece out of Bono House's front wing, but they remain clean, so nothing to complain about. And there's Mac Backham into P2. So as I expected, Mac had the pace to be into P2. He's done his job right now, and we're coming towards those first pit stops. So Coander's job right now for Mac Backham is, you're in P2, Kroenke is all the way into first position and can't be catched, or can't be caught, excuse me. You cannot butcher this pit stop phase.
I was going to say, the grammar gendarme is going to actually come out and get you if you're going to say that one again. But Bono House right now is in third place in that Team Red Line number 14 machine. Matt Backham is now up into second place. That does deserve actually a second look. Let's get ourselves the opportunity to do so. For my aerial coverage brought to you by And One Design. There you can see immediately down to the inside into Tamburello corner. There is almost a touch there between the two drivers in towards Tamburello corner, but they just managed to avoid each other. I want to show it again. We're going to try and zoom it in a little bit as they come down into the corner. Unfortunately, our zooming isn't working as they do come in, but that was so close between them. That could actually, if that was the Formula 1 and Sim Cup, I'm going to be honest, they would have been both out of the race.
Oh, no, don't say that. Shots fired. Well, they'll have to prove you wrong next round at Indianapolis, your home ground, Will. And see what they can do over there.
Yeah. And we're going to have to actually sing Back Home Again in Indiana at that race.
We'll do it in the ad break later on.
Okay, that'll be fine.
Send it to Jack.
Okay.
So, I want to say, actually, I want to know what goes through Martin Kroenke's mind right now, because, I mean, every race this year he's been up in front. I mean, Monza was a close battle, as I know, but what does he think about? Does he actually think about racing? Is he in some sort of subconscious, like in some sort of matrix world where you don't know? I'm confused. What does he think about for the next 42 laps? I'm
not quite sure, to be honest. We are going to get ourselves another replay, and we are not actually going to get this from our heady camera, but it's going to be a little bit while back. So we're going to have to stick with it, shall we say, for a moment. This is on board with Bono House, and actually, I think it all started down here, because you just have a look at the curve that Bono House took down at the Variante Alta as they head themselves towards the Ravazza, that double apex left-handed chicane. We're going to stop going on board with Bono House for the moment. We're now going to go and have a look for my aerial coverage, and we'll zoom it in, and you can see just how close things get between these two drivers as they head themselves. And actually, Backham was way back as they headed towards the start-finish line. He closed up there with the use of DRS, got himself alongside. And actually, what I want to do, pause it there. They just almost got themselves together. And I'm wondering if I can just take that one back in just a couple of seconds and try and show that to you. They were so close actually making contact as they came into the corner. They were about a tyre width apart there, Johnny.
Yeah, well, the good thing is that Backham's got some straight line speed. So if he does end up losing his position in the pit stop phase, it could end up worse off for him, as Jamie Fluke down the order has lost a lot of time and may have had a spin around about the Tamburello we're hearing.
Yeah, so let's have a look, see if we can find that one out for there for Jamie Fluke, as this was him into Ravazza on the previous lap. So let's ride on board of him, see what we can find out. But Jamie Fluke then is down into 15th place in the Apex Racing UK machine, after what had been a good start to his motor race so far. And actually, one of the things I want to talk about is the kind of lack now of Apex Racing Academy drivers, as, Fluke was on the outside line, lost it completely under braking with the dirt and the marbles on the outside line. He didn't have a chance there, Johnny.
Yeah, and Jurgis will be having a little bit of a smirk there, because he wanted that Apex Racing main seat, and right now he's won the battle between himself and Jamie Fluke as well. Fluke had a brilliant Pro Series, though, heading towards the World Championship. He likens his driving style much to Jenson Button. Just doesn't really try to fight the car too much. He doesn't like to fight the car anyway. He just eases it into corners, into entry. And he's had some very understeery setups, he said, too. So that's his style if somebody's willing to steal him away from Apex, which I don't think they want, because he's a very solid driver.
But the understeery style that you talk about is actually the reason why Jenson Button struggled with so much in his first couple of years at this track. I mean, he was miserable in 2000 in that Williams, miserable at Benetton for those 2 years, and actually he had to learn, like, you might be a smooth and stable driver, but you've got to be aggressive when you need to be over these curbs.
No, you do. But Jamie's at Apex, and they've always figured things out. They have plenty of setups for each track, and have to learn from his teammates. I mean, Marcus Jensen, can he learn something to adapt his style to him? And grip hacks, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But, yeah, it's a brilliant point you bring up, because curb usage is so important at Imola, and that's where Jenson Button struggled. Jenson Button also struggled with, what was it, the front tires as well, trying to get the heat into him at times. And I mean, especially in his Brawn days, I remember where, out of nowhere, Jenson would struggle and things didn't go well due to his style. But hey, look, you know what? We're complaining about Jamie Fluke being in P15. It's like first world problems. You're in P15 in a world championship race. This is brilliant.
Yeah, true story. Martin Piatella, Daniel Arndt-Wernting going at it. Daniel Arndt-Wernting is that kind of unspoken, forgotten member of the Radicals Online team this series, but he always brings out good finishes. He currently is in P number 9. Martin Piatella just ahead of him, P number 8. Piatella, of course, has had himself a good start to this motor race, as we always see him do. Let's see, movers and shakers inside your top 10 right now. You see Piatella is up 10 places. Wernting is up a total of 3. But actually, showing by our graphics, Piatella has actually got past Wernting in the last lap or so. So let's try and rewind the tape and see whether we can actually bring that one to you. And it came down in towards turn number 1. There we are, Martin Piatella down to the inside Tamburello corner.
Yep, good stuff. So Piatella making progress on Wernting. And Wernting, the 30-year-old, joined Radicals, and he also joined Mogar Filho. It's always good to have another Brazilian-speaking driver. Brazilian driver.
Portuguese-speaking drivers, I think what you meant.
Yeah, I meant Brazilian driver who speaks Portuguese, excuse me. So it's always good to have another driver from your own country who can, and you can sort of relate to a few things, if that will help as well, the language barrier. But, you know, these guys can speak English fluently, so there's no problem. Just depends what situation you're in. And it's always different with those types of teams as well, the different elements and all that kind of stuff. You know, the international teams always sharing international banter. It's funny.
What time did you say the pit road are going to open? Lap number 24?
24, here we go.
Chamberlain Bassi on pit road, out and away, 3.9 seconds.
So at least this round I was accurate. Other rounds with my calculations, some drivers have come in a lap or two early. So at Imola, the tires are a little bit more durable. Here's Chamberlain Bassi going 60 kilometers an hour, breaking the speed barrier, Will. Jesus Christ. As he now heads away onto the racetrack. And where is he? He's about P21, I'd say, right now. Just trying to find where he is on the racetrack. P23, so behind Tomo Meglic.
But with a good gap, and that's what the thing is. If you want to do the early pit stop, you're going to make sure you get good, clean air between yourself and other drivers. He has 3 seconds between himself and the driver Ottoman Meglik right now, which is going to be useful for him if he wants to get a couple of quick laps in. On board then with Graham Carroll. Frank Shorehorse is 4th place, but Carroll has fallen back in this event, and it does look as though he is severely understeery right now.
Yeah, not good. Especially, that means you have to come in for a pit stop. I mean, if the tires are struggling. It is early days, but the fuel becomes lighter, obviously, towards the end of the stint. So this is why drivers come in slightly earlier than halfway distance, which is lap 31 of 62. And that's why Bullock Bassi's coming early. He knows that with a lighter car, the tires will be saved some more.
Out of the Variante Alta, they will come again as they'll now come towards Ravazza, lap number 25. None of your leaders are in. In fact, we've only had a handful. In fact, we've only had one driver coming towards pit road for a scheduled stop. We've now got one more in because that is going to be the driver of Frank Shorehorse coming on towards pit road. Conclusion of lap number 25. Is anyone else going to join him? I'm not quite sure here, Johnny.
That's interesting. Yeah, so, I mean, not the other driver's not joining him. It's Shorehorse entering the pit lane. So, 60 kilometers an hour, the limit here through the pit lane. And he will look for any battles coming out of the pits too. Where's he going to feed out, though? He's going to feed out about P15, I'd say P20. So, this is interesting in terms of whether or not he can jump his Team Redline teammates of Huss and Carroll.
And most importantly, does he come out into clean air? The answer is going to be no. The answer is really going to be no, potentially, because you've got a driver right behind him. He gets just out ahead of Balis Remniak, but he's got Yao Vaz about 1.2 seconds ahead. That's the worst thing that could happen to Frank Shorehorse, because if he was a second and a half up the road, he would have about a 4-second gap between himself and the driver of Yuta Saito. So now, Shorehorse will need to be brave over the course of the next couple of laps to get himself past Yao Vaz if he can, and then move himself up through that clean air. But Martin Kroenke will do another lap. Matt Backham, actually Backham's in.
There we go. So Huss, Carroll continue. What about Marcus Jensen, who heads towards the exit of Ravazza? He continues too. Interesting for Backham. If they found some clean air for him, he might either just be defending from Shorehorse, or this is just his scheduled stop anyway. So let's see what happens for Shorehorse here. He's gotten past Yalvez, actually.
That's good. That's good for him. That's incredibly important for him. But time lost could well be important. 3.9 second stop there for Matt Backham. VRS Kind of Sim Sports out and away. He will go back out onto the track, and he's clear. That's very important there. He's ahead of Shorehorse there by about 1 second. Matt Backham will retain that position by about 7/10 of a second. Good move by Matt Backham, one would have to argue.
So that's interesting. When I said before that he was defending from Shorehorse, I just said it because I thought it's a prospect. It might not be serious. Look how close they are now on the racetrack. One more lap, Shorehorse would have effectively been in the second position on the racetrack. So important now for Huss and Carroll to pit. Will they end up behind Frake at the end of this pit stop phase?
Having a look at replay, Chen Bullet Bassi versus the driver Ottoman Meglik by the looks of it, as they work themselves down towards Ravazza. And you can just see Ottoman Meglik just on those older tyres, kicking up the bits of used rubber on that car. But then Chen Bullet Bassi just gets a huge run from about 3.5 car lengths back. High, left-hand side, takes the position, job done. Bullet Bassi now up into P number 14, on track for the time being. But we are getting close to halfway distance. Let's keep an eye out on Martin Kroenke. Let's keep an eye out on other drivers on track as well, as Kroenke will now just work himself down towards Alco Minerale. We've got more drivers on pit road, actually, a lot more drivers on pit road. Graham Carroll is out, and Graham Carroll's behind Frank Shorehorse. And that is important. Martin Piatella is out of pit road as well. His pit stop time 3.7 seconds, and he comes out ahead of Daniel Ernst-Wensing. But Graham Carroll now behind Frank Shorehorse again.
Wow. So 1 minute 20.7 for Shorehorse, his last clean lap before the pit stop. 1 minute 19.8 last time around. Look how quick it is right now. About a second advantage if you make a pit stop. So having a look at Marcus Jensen as well. Is he going to suffer? Chamberlain Bassi's early pit stop is looking very good at this stage.
Yeah, and Graham Carroll doesn't seem to have anything at this point in time. 2.2 seconds gap between himself and Graham Carroll out of DRS range, while actually Short Horse does have DRS to Matt Backham ahead of him. That is a battle for position. They have both made pit stops here, and Matt Backham done a sterling job actually of splitting some of these Team Redline drivers.
Yeah, so good stuff. And this is, well, he's trying to tear the team apart, possibly. That's what the media would say, conspiracy theories. So Jensen and Huss into the pit lane. Huss is about to exit. And Matt Backham will scream past. So does Shotos. What about Graham Carroll versus Bono Huss?
It's going to be a 1-2 for Coanda. It's going to mean this is a 1-2 now for Coanda Simsports, because Matt Backham is ahead of not only Frank Shorthorse, not only ahead of Graham Carroll, he's also ahead of Bono House. So now Matt Backham is in the next second place here today, unless Isaac Price can find a way of getting P2, but I doubt he can do so. Coanda Simsports continue to dominate this season now.
Wow, so good stuff from them. Well, Backham is actually under pressure from Shotos, who looks so good in this stint. And Frank Shotos looks very good at the early parts of a stint anyway. So
Redline always does.
Exactly, that's right. So here they go through Acqua Minerale, uphill traction zone. Frank Shotos slams the right foot to the ground, widening the track and trying to straight line the terrible design chicane, a variante alta, and through the exit. You see, that chicane just does no good for motor racing, and it's just ruined what really could have been a good fight here, unless Shotos picks it up through Ravazza.
It's about as bad as the second chicane at Hockenheim, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. So, well, the whole redesign Hockenheim is just
a joke.
Yeah. Anyway, back to this
Isaac
fight now.
Price
Look at Shotos with DRS.
Yeah, as Isaac Price is on towards pit road, keep a half an eye on Frank Shorthorse as well, as Isaac Price 3.5 second pit stop. Dion Verges for Cara are on pit road as well. Isaac Price, that's about as much as he could have hoped for there. He will come out ahead of Marty Piatella by about half a second. Which is what he does.
Yeah, good stuff. Marty's on a charge though. This is dangerous. There's Marty Piatella, podium finish last year at this track, as Martin Kroenke now enters the pit lane, the race leader. And do you think Matt Backham's going to jump Martin Kroenke here? He's stayed out for too long, though. Yeah, we'll wait and see. Anyway,
I think Shorthorse has got about 4 laps to do this, otherwise it's going to be a case of game over. But he's got a very good run actually at the Variante Alta, then loses it as they now work themselves down towards Ravazza once again. He loses a tenth of a second for the Variante Alta. So Shorthorse there, he's being too aggressive at the wrong point. Actually, if you're going to be aggressive anywhere, you're going to be aggressive at either Acqua Minerale or you're going to be aggressive down at Ravazza. And here comes Frank Shorthorse. You see he's trying to tuck into that drive. He's got the DRS flap wide open for him right now. As they come past the tribe, he's going to go to the right-hand side. Battle for position. Who's going to get it? Shorthorse round the outside. Back up into P number 2.
Oh boy, did he nail that pass. He was about a millimeter away from hitting the anti-cut strip, but he just calculated that right. Brilliant move from Frank Shorthorse. And, well, I mean, we've sold him a little bit too long here. He runs wide at the exit of Villeneuve, but he maintains second place there. So, I mean, I don't want to say, hey, look, this is part of the season or one of this kind of stuff, but that there deserves to be on some sort of montage of brave human beings on planet Earth over the past 100 years.
Yeah, there is a look at the replay one more time from our aerial coverage without the stuttering that we saw the last time by. Just moves to the outside line, the overspeed engage, just closes that DRS flap and moves himself up into P number 2. The question now is going to be, can Backham respond? Because we know generally Coanda are better in the second half of a stint. We are lap number 31 of 62 here. Here are your standings. It's Martin Kroenke from Frank Shorthorse, Matt Backham, Bono House, Graham Carroll. They are your top 5. Marcus Jensen, Isaac Price, and Marty Piatella around at your top 8. With Chamberlain Bassi down at Aunt Wanting, they are the last 2 drivers inside your top 10. We're going to step aside for one moment here on RaceSpotTV. When we come back, it'll be the second half of the 7th round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And, well, The big question is going to be Backham versus Shorthorst.
Introducing a whole new form of racing to the best online racing simulation in the world. This is Dirt Racing on iRacing.com. Race online at some of America's most legendary dirt tracks, including Eldora and Williams Grove. iRacing is the premier online racing game featuring NASCAR, IndyCar, sports cars, and now World of Outlaws, the leading sanctioning body for dirt racing. iRacing is easy to use and features a centralized ranking system to make sure you have the best experience at any skill level. With a massive inventory of high-precision laser scan tracks and cars with an unmatched dedication to quality and detail, iRacing gives you the most authentic online racing experience available. Thanks to iRacing's dynamic track system, developed specifically for dirt racing, tracks change over the course of a race, just like your favorite dirt track on a Friday or Saturday night. From a slick racing groove all the way up to the cushion, iRacing's dirt tracks deliver non-stop racing action. Partnered with the World of Outlaws, iRacing is your source for the most authentic dirt racing experience available, featuring 4 brand new tracks and 11 new cars, including street stocks, Legends cars, late models, NASCAR trucks, winged and non-winged sprint cars, with much more on the way. Join the Dirt Revolution on iRacing.com and start slinging mud today.
iRacing, you wanted the best, you got them for abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Hey guys, Christopher Bell here. As you guys know, iRacing is coming out with dirt, and it's been a long time coming. So I'm here today to kind of show you around the sprint cars and hopefully give you some insight for whenever you first drive it. So here we are at Williams Grove, gonna go out and make a couple laps in the 410 wing sprint car. I'm on default setup with a gear change to a 522. As we roll out of the pits, you guys might notice that the car wants to pull left and you have to hold the steering wheel right to go straight. That's normal for a sprint car because you have so much stagger, it's always trying to turn the car left. Once you get up to speed, that goes away. Going down the straightaways, Williams Grove has really long straightaways and really tight corners. The big wings on the sprint cars, it always wants to pull you left into the corner, so it doesn't take much steering wheel input to get the car into the corner. A big key for the wing sprint cars is that they always like to go straight. They don't like to be too sideways. So the less steering wheel input you can have and the straighter you can keep the car, the faster you'll go. As the track slickens off, you'll be able to play with the setup to get the car driving even straighter yet. And that's a couple laps around Williams Grove. So here we are at Eldora Speedway. I'm on baseline setup with a gear change to a 511. As we roll out at Eldora Speedway, one thing that you'll notice is that the corners are really sweeping and it's almost a circular shape. The big thing about Eldora is just keeping that steering wheel straight. The straighter you keep the wheel and the less steering input that you give the car, the faster you'll go. The fast line around Eldora will be right around the inside wall in the corners and then with a big arc towards the outside walls down the straightaways. Then once the track slicks off, you'll be able to follow the groove up towards the outside wall, where the famous Eldora Highline comes into play. So now we're at Volusia Speedway Park with the 410 wing sprint car. I'm on baseline setup with a 511 gear, the same as what we ran at Eldora. Whenever you roll out on the racetrack, you'll notice that Volusia is similar to Eldora. They have long sweeping corners, and it's kind of circular in shape. At Volusia, whenever the track is fast, you'll want to be right down against the concrete wall in the corners with a nice big arc down the straightaway. Whenever the track starts to slicken up, you'll be able to follow the groove up higher and higher. Whenever you get into turns 3 and 4 though, the groove might get up onto the shelf, which is the flatter section of the racetrack. And then it becomes very difficult to exit turn 4 without getting into the wall. And that's just one of the characteristics of Volusia Speedway Park.
You just saw it on RaceSpotTV side by side there. Graham Carroll just gets into contact there with Matt Backham. There's been 2 maneuvers in the last couple of laps involving Matt Backham. We're going to see whether we can actually pick up the first one. I'm not sure if we are going to be able to, but he lost, first of all, the position to Bono House. But the one that we really want to see is the one that we just saw on your screen with Matt Backham, Graham Carroll then. We're going to ride on board with Graham Carroll on the exit of Ravazza, and we knew that with the pass was going to happen, Johnny. But when it did, calamity happened. As we have a look now from our aerial coverage brought to you by And1 Design. Into the corner, we're going to pause it for you right about now. As they come down into the corner, you see there was a good half a car length between them. They both turned in, and then Matt Backham hit the anti-cut curbs that pushed them across the racetrack into Graham Carroll. There's your incident. Penalty point most likely for Matt Backham.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, so stewards will have a look at that after the race anyway. And right now, Graham will definitely be fuming anyway. He's not a happy camper when it comes to incidents like that. And right now it's cost him a chance at P4 and also cost him a chance of reeling in his red line teammates in front. So let's see if, I mean, we really thought Matt Backham was going to run away and make this a Coanda 1-2. He pitted. He looked like he had some good pace in the first stint. So either towards the end of the stint, Mac's pace increases, or he just can't find the rhythm here in his second stint.
Yeah, one more replay then from on board with Matt Backham. Coming down into Tamburello corner. Well, this is shaking the game up a little bit. As we go on board, as I say, we stay on board with Matt Backham for the moment. Anti-cut curbs. That's all it was. I mean, you have to put the blame on Backham for that one. But he did just like turn in too early and run over the anti-cut curbs. That is the reason why that incident happened.
Yeah, that's pretty much why it happened. Nothing else to look at. Yeah, we see incidents all the time. They're both still in the event, hopefully with minimal damage. Let's move on. Let's see what happens from here on in.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Backham actually giving that position back to him as soon as Graham Carroll just closes up.
Well, now they've got Tomo Meglic behind, who is a lapped car, so that's not a car of racing for position. So yeah, we'll wait and see. That's an interesting prospect. Which, by the way, fun fact of the day, returning from the ad break, the first L in Tomo Meglic's name, he's actually registered it with a capital I. So I'd love to ask him, but I think I messaged him one day. He never replied. I might have sent it to the Meglic with the L, but apparently that's 2 I's. So is it Tomo Megic or Meglic? I don't know. We'll never find out because we can't spell his name.
We'll find out when they complain about the way I pronounce names here, as we've got ourselves Isaac Price going on board with him right now versus Marta Piatella. Gap is 1 second between them. Lap times between them, though. That's a little interesting fact to show you. Isaac Price is losing time to Marta Piatella right now. Coanda Sim Sports versus Core Sim Racing.
Yeah, good fights. And good to see Core Sim Racing getting stronger and stronger as the season goes on. They built a team really, and I've said this before, but Isaac Price really shouldn't be here this season. He ended up sort of close to retirement, ended up coming back in the top 10 now. They built good foundations with Cemberlik Bassi, Pascalis Georgis, other drivers too. I mean, that team's just so quick. Fredrik Rasmussen too is one of the quickest guys in sim racing, but he's not in Formula One. He's going to be in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series next season. Let's see what happens in the McLaren MP430 with Fredrik Rasmussen.
And you've got to argue actually as well that Isaac Price has really brought Core Sim Racing alive in the World Championship Series. I mean, I know in the other series, the Blockpain GT series, they were fine without him, but in the Grand Prix series, Isaac Price has basically been their saviour.
He has. He's been a consistent saviour, but I think Cemberlik Bassi too, with his strong results over the races like Montreal and Road America, 2 6 positions for him. I think he's arguably the quickest driver right now at core in the McLaren. So on the right day, he definitely is. Price just has that experience, and Isaac's no stranger to a podium. Remember, he finished second at VIR back in, I think it was 2014. So Isaac Price, that was his best result. He's got the pace in this car. And he's also teammates with Yoni Tormolo, who ended up winning the first 2 races in the history of the McLaren MP430 last season.
Having a look then at Isaac Price at the moment. Actually, I want to go back a little bit down your field and see whether there's any battles. There aren't actually. And that's the thing about Imola. After pit stops, the battles generally degrade a little bit. So let's talk about your race leader for the moment. Martin Kroenke, 4.1 second advantage. That's not the biggest gap he's had all season, but for Martin Kroenke, that's all the gap he needs. I mean, he could be 4 seconds shorter and still win this motor race.
Yep, definitely could. So let's see what happens for him from here on in. And I mean, 22 laps remaining as well. You remember when somebody zero stopped at Monza? It was Yoni Tormolo at Will. See if that happens again. You know, everybody's, I mean, this season actually, obviously everybody's made a pit stop, but we saw before Isaac Price in P2. The tires this race are handling well. We don't. It's like Formula One this year in 2017. This season, the tires are just much more durable than they were last year, and either that or drivers have just figured them out more. And let's see if anybody zero stops a race the same way Tormolo did.
You know what? I said at the start of the season there might even be 3 stops in a race. I think that is a pipe dream in terms of this entire season. Maximum 2 stops, but I think the strategy overall is 1 stopper. The drivers that do 2 are the same as the drivers that might do 0 here. That is the off strategy here this season. We have got Jamie Fluke versus Kazuki Umeshima. This one's going on for P13. 8 times per second. Fluke is catching up then very slowly to Kazuki Umeshima.
Yeah, remember Fluke had that spin, and it's really weird. It's like coming home and not having a shower now. You know, it's just, you don't feel right after a spin. You need a reset, you need a pit stop, have that shower, get back out there. So Fluke now with DRS has a shot at passing Umeshima for the unlucky P13. And they go through the Tamburello. Fluke not perfect through there. But he still gains some time on Umeshima, so if he nails a lap, he should be straight past the Radicals driver soon.
Indeed, so let's ride on board then for a couple of corners with Jamie Fluke. This is RaceSpotTV Fan Immersion. By the looks of it, we've had a driver go off, but I'm not quite... Oh, is that Graham Carroll out? Graham Carroll has got a black flag and is out by the looks of things.
Oh, goodness.
Graham Carroll is out of this motor race.
Yeah, but he's been disqualified. Black flagged. And surely not for the incident with Mac Backham before.
No, but I would say overall incident points might be the black flag stop and go penalty. He's just parked the car.
Yeah, wow. So
don't forget, in the World Championship Grand Prix Series, Shannon Whitmore, Tyler Hudson, et al. Are there. They are monitoring the incident points for each of these drivers. After they get above a certain level, they will get themselves a stop and hold penalty. I would argue that Graham Carroll arguably just thought, you know what? Not worth it. Game over.
Wow. So, I mean, the incident with Mac has definitely totaled up his incident points to quite a high number, but it's just disappointing, and I'm not sure what else to say there. So if that's the case, as I said, just really disappointing for Graham. I mean, a guy who was looking for a top 5 result. Yeah,
and of course he was in the wars earlier on with Matt Backham. That might have tipped him over the edge in terms of incident point limit. Just having a look to see what actually happened to him. I think he may have actually just pushed wide down at Variante Alto as well, but I'm just going to keep an eye out on him down into the Ravazza. Does he bring the car towards pit road, or does he pull it off? or does he just get black flagged? We're going to find out. He brings the car on towards pit road. Simple as that. Game over. Graham Carroll.
Yep, Yuta Saito black flag too. Oh, goodness.
Oh, my word.
So towards the end of the event, I mean, Yuta Saito pulls into the pits. So, you know, oh, man. I would love to see if someone didn't pull into the pits. We'd have like 50 race fans.
Schumacher 1994.
Yeah, exactly.
Silverstone.
So,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's Michael Schumacher, so you know, get away with it, of course. Ferrari International
He got a
Assistant.
2-race ban, don't forget. That was Benetton, not Ferrari I'm talking about. Get over your times here, Johnny.
94. I'm being very harsh here. I'm very, very harsh. No, that was interesting, though, with one of the greatest drivers of all time, Michael Schumacher. Now we have Carroll Saito out of the event for that. But it's the rules, Will. You can't argue with the rules. You know?
Rules are rules. And actually, we're having a look at the time there for Yuta Saito, and it should be a 30-second stop and hold penalty. So we're just keeping an eye out then for Yuta Saito. 28, 29, 30. Maybe getting fresh tyres. Yeah, he gets fresh tyres as well. 34.4, out and away he goes.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, at least he didn't go... Yeah, lucky with iRacing, it's very helped with the timing up on their screen. You don't accidentally take a 45-second penalty when it should have been 30.
No, you kind of know how long the penalty you need to be is. That's the important thing, really. And actually, Jamie Fluke versus Kazuki Umeshima. That one is closing up because Jamie Fluke in P number 13 now, Kazuki Umeshima in 12. While Fluke has been catching up to the rear of Kazuki Umeshima. You can see that one by the fact that they've been swapping times here. It was 2 tenths really lost by Jamie Fluke, now 2 tenths per second gained by him as he's now back into that dirty air.
Yeah, so I thought maybe he'd be much closer at this stage anyway, but this is the closest battle we have on track right now between Umeshima and Fluke for P12. Heading towards Acqua Minerale. And it's so scary. It's such an underrated complex of corners. And it definitely is. Exit's very easy because it's just fun. You're able to drift the car if you want to have some fun after the event. Uphill traction zone through the Variante Alta towards the end of the lap anyway. You have the first sector, which is very fast and flowing. Tricky chicanes in the second sector, and then just a relatively straightforward Ravazza curves for the final sector.
Yeah, so there is the lap times as they head themselves past the start-finish line. Let's see what the update is. Fluke, it's not going to be 0.196. It'll be something else. He lost 3 tenths per second that last time by the dirty air. Really is affecting drivers today.
And he didn't have DRS that lap too.
Yeah.
So that is going to help Kazuki Umeshima immensely towards the end of this event. Well, Fluke in one of the Apex cars, another one of Marcus Jensen with Graham Carroll's black flag. He's in the top 5. Woohoo to him.
Indeed, woohoo to him as well. Marcus Jensen, there you can see him. Apex Racing UK machine. Well, we were always worried after Graham Carroll left Apex Racing to see whether or not they'd keep their momentum. And actually, one of the things I said earlier, it was just in passing, but it's worth elaborating on. Apex Racing Academy drivers haven't really been prevalent this season, but the Apex Racing UK team still remained pretty strong.
Yep, and that M word you use, momentum, is important. Marcus Jensen, now promising prospect for this team. He's so young as well, Marcus. And he's just, I mean, so impressive for a 16-year-old to be doing what he's doing and be in the top 5 of a World Championship race. Just great. And he's got Piatella hunting him behind. I do know Marcus Jensen is very aggressive when it comes to defensive driving, so it's not going to be easy for Marty Piatella. Let's have a look at this fight over the next 16 laps remaining in this race.
Yeah, we are getting into the danger zone now, as we would like to call it, of this motor race for Marcus Jensen. He has got Martin Piatella 2.5 seconds back, and actually having a look at the lap times between them, it is less than a tenth of a second, actually, and that Jensen is faster than Martin Piatella. So no real gains between them. The one we've got to actually see here is Bono House, second in the championship versus Frank Shawhorse, separated by half a second. Will Bono try and overtake his teammate, or is this, again, the whole Dom Duhan, you guys go and fight for it moment?
Well, yeah, Dom, there's no team orders at Red Line. They'll just
Allegedly.
Just mutual respect. Allegedly, but there is mutual respect. Like, I understand last Suzuka race of the year before, where Ollie let Gregor Hutu through for some points. People are like, hey, that's team orders. But I'm like, now, I've been in a team where you genuinely care for your teammates and you don't mind sacrificing something because you're not really in the championship, and you will do it. It's different in sim racing. I've met a lot of drivers in sim racing, and I truly mean this when I say this. Some drivers and some make it the greatest team to be a part of and the greatest experience in the world to be part of a team in sim racing. When you have the right drivers who get over themselves, they're not arrogant, and you enjoy yourself. But then I've also been in teams where you get the guys who are just trying to start arguments and they think this is just about them and it's the real world. This is sim racing, guys. Get over yourself. It's the worst experience in the world when you're with teammates like that, and that's from experience. I've been with both, and you just hate yourself every day when you show up to sim race with the other team.
Yeah, I can completely confirm that one. As a team manager, you know how hard it is, and there are your top three. Then left-hand side of your screen, Martin Kroenke leads by 7.5 seconds over Freek Shawhorse. Bono House in third place right now, about 6 tenths of a second behind his teammate. And while Matt Backham is in fourth, Marcus Jensen is in fifth. But realistically, I don't see any real charges happening in the last, 15 laps of this motor race?
Yeah, let's see. Bensing's close to Bullock Bussy, but they're trading lap times here and there. It's really just about keeping your cool over these next few laps. Tires towards the end of the stint here don't hold up too well, so it's going to be tricky for some drivers who might have pitted maybe
early.
2-3 laps earlier than others. Yeah, and it's just going to be trouble towards the end of the event. So they just have to keep their cool really with worn set of tires.
I think that's going to be a thing, actually. If there's going to be any changes, it will be the likes of Imishima versus Fluke, one they're having to defend quite heavily. Balas Remniak versus Dion Verges, where they're having to actually defend heavily. Alex Bergeron versus Yuta Saito, as we have actually a look at Alex Bergeron. There you can see him as he works himself towards... What corner is that? Is that a Piatella? Yeah, it's Piatella down towards Akram Minardi. He's got Yuta Saito behind him. Yuta Saito, I know, he's looking for a lot more in this motor race after some calamities earlier.
Yeah, and that penalty he suffered too, unfortunately. There's just nothing you can do right now for Yuta Saito. I think anyway, he's just going to keep going. Just behind Alex Bergeron now. Saito makes his way through, and that's for P20, a lap behind.
Yeah, and it is a lap behind for Yuta Saito because of how far off he was from race leader at the start of, well, I say the start of this one, it's by the time he came on towards pit road. But for Yuta Saito, he's one of those drivers that I think, and again, this comes back to driving style. Some drivers are very good at pinpoint accuracy over curbs. So other drivers, they have to adapt to it. And I think that Yuta Saito is a driver we see quite often, doesn't attack the curves, but you have to here.
No, you're right. You have to. A lot of really keys to this track, and I mentioned at Silverstone, you really need to have your third spring set up for the fast changes of direction here at Imola. And then you have to have damping too, spring rates, you look at all that kind of stuff, and there's so much that goes into the complex car setup of a McLaren MP430. But once you learn the tricks of the trade, it ends up becoming, it's like second nature. You know which adjustment to make, you know where to make it. A lot of setup help, and people think you just have to read a setup guide and that's going to make you be good at setting up a car. A lot of it is just talking to teammates and talking to other drivers.
Yeah.
What do they do in certain situations? If you thought taking a curb was just about fast damping and one driver's like, oh, I did this with my rear wing, or I don't know, that doesn't make any sense, but something like that. You learn from other drivers and you learn different techniques and you adapt that to your own style.
Well, this is Martin Piatella right now versus Marcus Jensen. 8 tenths per second going on between the two drivers. Let's give you a little bit of RaceSpotTV fan immersion, shall we? I just heard a really big crash from Martin Piatella over those curbs. I want to get a replay of that. Okay, this is down to Acca Minerale. This is all fine. It's down into the Variante Alta that we've been talking about all day long. And just have a look. You see, there's the line coming into the corner. This is an M. That first right-hander, just too much curb taken there by Piatella. Now, you won't see too much damage on these cars, but it will really hurt the kind of underside of the cars when they do that.
Yeah, that's true. It also can sometimes chip the front wing, I should say. And we see that a lot at Circuit of the Americas, the final round, with the anti-cut ripples there.
Oh, God.
And what happens is drivers, yeah, they try to be a little bit too optimistic in that first sector and really damages the car, and it actually ends races too. So you have to make sure you don't damage the wheel, don't damage the steering at all too. And so lucky for Martin Piatella, I'm surely he's probably thinking, oh, I didn't get a slowdown. Perfect. You should be a bit more lucky it didn't damage the front wing.
Yeah, and actually he's still within about 7 tenths of a second of Marcus Jensen right now for 5th place on track. Bono Houseway, by the way, over Freight Shawhorse. That is down to just 2.5 tenths of a second. These are the two teammates going at it for P number 2 on track. And, well, I think they will stay line astern for the time being because there's no realistic opportunity they're going to catch Martin Kroenke. We're going to now talk about Martin Kroenke, 10 laps to go, 7 of 7. 12 of 12? Is that becoming more and more of a reality?
It is. It won't be the first time. The record by Hutu is much more than 12. And Kroenke,
yeah, but it's not 100% of races. That's the issue.
Exactly, that's the issue. So Kroenke is going to just set something where... if only I could show in some sort of graphic, which we need to do next round, the improvement from Kroenke from a stats perspective, and then have an onboard lap of him from his rookie season to now and say, like, hey, look, he's done this or done that, and he's improved.
Hey, PSR TV, let us know, all right? It's either PSR TV or Glacier TV, so either one of them, let us know. We'll get that lap on board for you. I would say one thing, though, is that for Martin Kroenke, I mean, this has really been a standout season by him, but when you're in this situation, it can get so boring at times. I mean, again, 8-second advantage over the field. I mean, he must be in that car right now singing bum ba dum bum 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 ba dum bum bum.
Yeah, but I'm not bored if I'm winning a race. I mean, his job is to win the race. So if you get bored because of that, that's just quite arrogant, obviously.
No, but I mean, let's be honest, though, for Martin Kroenke, he's not actually had to have a real battle for much of this season. He's had like 2 or 3 lead battles, and that's it.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, you know what, Will? You're asking the worst guy, because I've unfortunately never been in Martin Kroenke's case where I've been the best sim racer in the world. I wish I was. Obviously,
that's why we hired you.
That's why you hired me. So, you know what? I've gotten bored from my P35s before, but I don't know what's going wrong with Kroenke's mind right now. He's doing a good job. He's lost a bit of time to shot horse, but I think Kroenke is just really taking it easy in this fast stint. And we said this last round too, Will. Let's not think that because Kroenke is only going to win by 8 seconds that this is his full speed. I think he's taken it easy this race because his lap times as well have been very variant, and it looks like some laps he's backing off, some laps he isn't.
And also, this is the driver that qualified in pole position by 3 tenths of a second. Got a 1.5 second lead by the end of lap number 2. This is the Martin Kroenke of 2016. It's at 2017. He's not allowed drivers to really touch him at the key stages of this event. With the exception of 1 or 2 rounds in the championship, he had to fight through traffic early, had to fight through traffic after pit stops, but actually, he's done everything this year.
He has. So, what I wanted to say before, I didn't get to finish my point, is that you can look at the stats, you can look at onboard laps. We'll probably never see because Glacier TV and PSR TV don't exist. But what we don't see is the work he puts in behind the scenes. And you know, I'm not saying we're going to do a feature on that, although that is a good idea. It's all what you do behind the scenes, and that's the difficulty of motor racing. You see this in the real world too, is that you don't see what the drivers do right now in terms of, you know, they're wearing a helmet. Everything's covered. When they go home, you don't have media covering the way their 4-hour runs or whatever Formula 1 drivers do. it's all behind the scenes, and they come here and they showcase their ability. So I think the credit for all these drivers, not just Martin Kroenke, but the credit they put behind the scenes really goes to show their potential here on the racetrack.
Dion Vergers, by the way, is close to the rear of Ballas Remniak as they come past the start-finish line in towards turn number 1. To the outside will go Dion Vergers, and the answer is going to be no, not this time, into Tamburello. That is Vortex Sim Racing versus Orion Race Team, P number 15 on track. And well, Remniak looks faster actually out of Ravazza, but Dion Vergers had the straight line speed advantage. So actually, if you're Vergers right now, it's a case of getting the most you can out of sector number 3.
Yeah, that's important for Dion Vergers, who you hardly spoken about this race. Dion, he's right here behind Remniak, heading towards Piratella. Very fun corner, Piratella. You can see the rubber starting to build up as usual. We mentioned that each race. That's just obviously after 55 laps of racing, you'd expect some rubber to be building up. Vergers, so poor exit. Oh, no, actually, he's letting through.
Very poor exit.
Yeah, he's letting through a couple of lap cars there.
Yeah, and this is always the difficulty when you go a lap down, as you've just lost, well, 2.3 seconds if you're Dion Vergers. As you just saw there, 2 of the Team Redline cars going past. Now, Ballas Remniak has basically just got to lose less time than that. And obviously, he won't even get them at a good point, though. He will get them, I will think, at about the same point next lap when I think about it.
Yeah, well, this is, you know, you practice driving fast across, you know, a single lap and all this kind of stuff. When do you ever practice trying to not lose much time letting lap cars through? I mean, this is just a situation where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're never in it. But hey, look at Remniak. He's actually gained time from this almost.
Yeah, he gained about half a second. Actually, no, he gained about a 1/10 of a second when all was said and done. So Dion Vergers is still within that one, as we are now on lap number 56 of 62 here in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. And well, Johnny, the next big challenge that some of these drivers will have to think about will be the Blind Pain GT Series. For others, it will be the next round of the championship. But of course, the next time that we come to you here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live will be in a few weeks' time with RaceSpot Race Day, of course, as we always do, as we'll bring you coverage of round number 8 of the championship. And that one will be at, as you said, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the famous Brickyard, 73 laps. That will be in 4 weeks' time.
Yep, 5th of August. Look forward to that as well. It's going to be round 8 of the championship. And well, this race isn't over, so I don't want to say look for this guy winning or look for that. We still have to wait for a result here, but Indianapolis is always fun. It's just unfortunate, 4 weeks away. It feels like I've been prepping for this round for quite a while, and
3 weeks.
It's already over. It's already over. We're going to go 4 weeks again.
However, in the meanwhile, we have got ourselves a Blanc Pain GT Series as well. That is coming to you in 2 weeks' time. That is the longest race of the season. It's the 6 hours of Spa. It'll be here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. And well, 6 hours to Spa after a 90-minute race at Zolder. Big, big difference.
Yep, and that will be laser scanned, of course, by iRacing as well, as all the tracks are. And just brilliant to see, especially with Imola that we're racing at today, another great laser scan track. So keep up the hard work, iRacing.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, the NASCAR Peak Entry Series, powered by iRacing, have, of just, in terms of real-life NASCAR and the Monster Energy Series, recently just moved themselves over to broadcasting on NBC. Catch some iRacing actually on NBC and their programming for NASCAR, because you'll see the likes of Patrick Klingerman taking part using the iRacing simulator and the NBC studios to show you how real life racetracks work in practice using a simulator. But in terms of the World Championship for them, well, they just got their next race, which will be at New Hampshire Motor Speedway the 19th of July. Of course, they just had their one and only road race of the season. That was at Sonoma. That one was a wild one, Johnny.
Yeah, it definitely was. Oh, man. Sonoma's always... that first sector is just brilliant.
Up the hill, one of the turn 1-2, it's just amazing.
Oh, it's just so good. And I remember throwing some... We had a... And this is the beauty of iRacing, by the way, as Martin Piatella passes Marcus Jensen for P5. So Piatella up into the top 5 in the latter stages. We'll have a look at a replay of that. But Sonoma, I remember we threw some British touring cars around there a few years ago, and that was some of the best racing I've ever seen. Imagine NASCAR there too, the PK Prix.
Yes, fantastic. And of course, next time they'll be out, they'll be at the Magic Mile on the 19th of July here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacing Live. And there's a replay of Piatella getting himself then past the driver of Marcus Jensen. Again, another P5 out of nowhere for Martin Piatella.
A quiet P5, very underrated. Although we have, no, when we say quiet, we've been following him all race. It's just more, he should have been on the podium. That's what he got here last year, so no excuses, Marty. But hey, he'll be satisfied with that. He's not a driver that's going to be, winning every race, the likes of Kroenke or Hutu have done. But a great race for him, I think. P5, brilliant. Jensen would really be disappointed, even though 6 is a strong result, career high result as well for Marcus Jensen. But when you lose the top 5 in the closing laps, it's never really satisfying, of course.
Yeah, as there was the replay even of my area coverage of Martin Piatella. Out front though, Martin Kroenke, lap number 59 of 62. The gap now is up to 9, almost 10 seconds on track. Other battles we've got going on, we've got Chembalet Bassi versus Daniel Wensing. That is going on for P number 8 right now. Radicals Online, Corsim Racing, 2 new teams then. 2 new teams, I'd say, but 2 teams actually who are new to their own battles with each other. Corsim Racing looking to become the top 5 sim racing team caliber, and actually I would say that Radicals Online are fighting to stay in the top 5 teams on iRacing in the World Championship Grand Prix Series.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't want, I'm tired of it. We've been not criticizing, we've been pointing out the truth about Radicals for over a year. Let's just leave them alone. Let them figure things out.
But Bassi had a big wiggle out of that coming O'Reilly, though.
I did see that, and so Chem lives for another day, and he's right behind Wensing there, as we said. I think we should just let Radicals figure things out. No pressure on them. See how they go. But Chem, he's lost a lot of time from that.
He lost himself about 3.5 tenths of a second, but we've got ourselves still a small handful, shall we say, of laps to go. And, I always bring this conversation up about Radicals and Apex, Radicals and Core, Radicals and Inex, Radicals and who's the other team I'm thinking of? You know who I mean. As Bullet Bassi just moves out of the way actually to allow a lap driver to go past him. That, I believe, is Marcus Jensen. Was that Kevin? No, Kevin Oates Jr. has actually legitimately just gone past him. What did Bullet Bassi do to allow Kevin Oates Jr. to go past him? That was crazy.
Yeah. He probably, I don't know. Maybe they played each other before the race. We'll have a look at the replay.
Yeah.
There's a joke, by the way. Obviously, they didn't pay each
I
other.
think we all know that. The RS flap goes open.
I don't see anything here that...
I just think that the Apex Racing UK car had too much straight line speed. He was gaining also on Daniel Wensing as well on the Radicals Online machine. So actually, in the last lap or so, we need to keep an eye out on Kevin Ellis Jr. versus the likes of Daniel Wensing. Simple as that.
Well, yeah, in the speed traps, Kevin Ellis Jr. 340 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
And look at him now, all over the back of Wensing. So Kevin Ellis Jr., someone's either put some virtual rear wing and front wing on that car. It's just genuinely so slick in a straight line. And look at him now. Look, let's see if he can get P8 away from Wensing.
So, Kroenke leads away then as they come to 1.5 laps to go. But the battle going on is Kevin Ellis Jr. He's going to go side by side alongside Daniel Wensing. And Wensing over. He's got himself some wing damage there as well. On board with Kevin Ellis Jr. as they'll head themselves now down towards Villeneuve chicane. And no, nothing yet. But you would say with the wing damage to Wensing and going wide, it may well just be a matter of time. White flag, though, is out for Martin Kroenke. One more lap for him to go. We'll pick up with him in a moment's time. This is Kevin Ellis Jr. versus Daniel Wensing. They now come down towards Aquaminarati. They've still actually got a lap and a bit to go. And also, Chembalet Bassi has lost himself a lot of spaces. He's actually, I would say, out of fuel here, Johnny.
Yep, fuel issues for Bullock Bassi.
So, Here we are. Last lap on the motor race, but Bassi struggling with fuel. Martin Kroenke on top of the mountain once again. In towards Acquaminerati for the final time. On board of him. Out of Acquaminerati, down towards the Variante Alta. And Martin Kroenke once again has done an absolutely perfect drive. Has led the race from the front. Has led, if I'm not mistaken, every single lap of this motor race. Has got himself the fastest lap of the motor race, and also had got himself pole position. Out of Ravazza, he will come for the final time. Martin Kroenke, 7 out of 7. The championship is almost certainly his now. Martin Kroenke wins at Imola. Sure Horse will get second place, but a house right behind him in third. Kevin Ellis Jr. versus Daniel Ernst-Wenting. It's close, but actually I do believe that Kevin Ellis Jr. has had an issue by the looks of it, because he's fallen back from the likes of Daniel Ernst-Wenting. In fact, dramatically by the looks of it, from where I'm seeing. Actually, no, I'd say that's the other way around. Ellis Jr. is actually ahead of Daniel Ernst-Wenting by about 20 or, well, almost about 10 seconds or so. So more issues then for Radicals Online at the end of this motor race in terms of fuel issues. But the key thing is, Kroenke leads, Kroenke wins, Kroenke 7 out of 7, Johnny.
Impressive for Martin. Not much else to say on that. And very impressive for Schottos and Haas, who have their career best results respectively, with second and third. Their first career podiums too. Between the two is Fluke and Jurgis across the line, very close, and they're still racing towards the end of the race.
Let's get a replay of that one very quickly then. Fluke versus Jurgis as they head themselves past the start-finish line. There is Jamie Fluke. You see a wiggle there for the Corson Racing car just ahead of them as they come past the start-finish line. Jurgis then as they come towards the start-finish line. Who gets it? Fluke got it at the line. Fluke was able to capitalize. That was what you call ultimate opportunist.
Nice. Go Jamie Fluke. And remember, he had the spin earlier. He's had a bit of trouble this race. Some type of satisfaction to end the event. They both had a twitch coming out of Ravazza, and I think it was Fluke who just swerved at the last second. That was very risky too.
I want to actually have another look at this, figure out what the start-finish line is, and say that, yeah, Fluke was ahead. But the straight line speed, the acceleration of those Apex Racing UK cars have just been exceptional here today.
Yeah, they have. So 340 kilometers an hour for, you was it before, Kevin Ellis Jr. That's crazy. I mean, and that's the way he set up the car too. But as we said now, as the drivers collect some dust and everything to, I don't know why, there's no parc fermé after the event. But they all continue
because
away.
They want to.
Kroenke decides to do a nice little celebration lap, wave to all the fans, his family sitting in the stands, enters the pit lane, and he's just been brilliant. And we'll speak to him soon, Hugo. It's Will. And
whoa, Economy Hugo.
No, I was meant to say, speak to him soon, Will. I'm saying Hugo's been his teammate for a number of years. I didn't even know if Hugo...
You kind of want to hear Hugo's. You kind of want to hear Hugo Louise. And again, only two car drivers have actually won a world championship. Hugo Louise in 2011 is Free ID Gaming, and then also Martin Kroenke in 2016. But I will say this is the most impressive start. In fact, the most impressive season I've seen since 2010. And because of the fact that in 2010, and I'm not going to take anything away here from Gregor Houty. I don't want to take anything away from him at all when I say this. But the competition level is so much higher in 2017 than it was in 2010. So to see what we're seeing from Martin Kroenke right now, really, I think that you and I have a privilege to commentate that we never have had the opportunity to do in any other season.
Yeah, we have. It's very impressive. I mean, Houty obviously won that championship ahead of Towler and Harpala, and he even took the last 2 rounds off. So ended up winning that championship by over a race advantage and took 2 rounds off. Just impressive. You know, Richard Towler was a very strong driver though as well. Let's just hope we get, you know, iRacing's doing something behind the scenes in terms of minimum participation rates for this series. you know, these guys aren't going to get fired by their team bosses for not showing up to an event. So I guess they can get away with it. So we need to find a way that we can get more than 30 cars on a grid.
Final race results then from the 7th round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Martin Kroenke wins 7 out of 7. 12.5 seconds almost then, the gap between himself and Frakes Horse, Bonner House in 3rd place, Matt Backham in 4th, and Martin Piatella rounds out your top 5. It is Kawanda and Team Redline that round out your top 5. Then it's the other drivers. I say other drivers in a nice way. Apex Racing, Corton Racing, Radicals Online. Marcus Jensen, Isaac Price, Kevin Ellis Jr., Daniel Wensing, and Kazuki Omishima. They round out your top 10. Having a look down your field a little bit, you've got yourself only 12 drivers on the lead lap. We'll talk about that one in our post-race show a little bit. Jamie Fluke and Passis Gergis are the only other 2 drivers to finish on the lead lap. Chembele Bassi, Vaz Remniak, Dion Virtues, and Fikara, and Kern, they finish on the lead lap as well. 2 laps down is Tomo Meglek and Yuta Saito. There are the rest of the results up on your screen. We will take a commercial break. We will come back and we will talk to your race winner and other drivers from the 7th round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Don't go anywhere because we'll be back after these messages on iRacing Live.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, watch him, watch him, watch him. Jam it!
Oh, yo!
Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yes! Yes! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Room behind you. Tell. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar. The in and out lap. What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. He hit me. Inside, inside, outside, inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Welcome back to Imola. Welcome to our post-race coverage of the 7th round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Well, the winners this season has been as follows. Martin Kroenke, Martin Kroenke, Martin Kroenke, Martin Kroenke, Martin Kroenke, Martin Kroenke, and Martin Kroenke. Yep, that's right. He has a 100% record again. as he comes out of Imola, and he has stood by with us here today. Martin Kroenke, I'm getting bored of this. Congratulations. Welcome to iRacing Victory Lane.
Thank you. I apologize for boring you.
We don't mean boring. We enjoy the racing. And again, pole position here today. You didn't need to do that second lap, but why do you do it?
Well, I was just not satisfied with the first lap, to be honest. And when there's still something, left in the car, I want to, get that out of the car. I mean,
even when you've already got pole position,
lap is perfect.
Even if you got pole position, you know you've got pole position, you still want to go and get that extra lap?
Yeah.
Okay. We like that. We like that a lot. Now, talk us through the race itself. You got yourself a clean getaway, 1.8 second advantage after 2 laps. Were you thinking, okay, it's another race win for me? Were you worried about anything at all? And I've got to be honest when I say this, because this has been the case all season long, and we're not expecting you to say, oh, we were worried about this, that, and the other, because quite frankly, I mean, no Gregor Houtu for the second race in a row. Bono and Frank did put on a good battle, but be quite honest, you have been outclassing the field lap on lap for the last 3-4 races easily.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of things that I was worried about this race. For once, the sausage curbs, you kind of need to get really close to it, or maybe even touch it a little bit to be fast. And when you slightly do it too much, then you may lose a little bit of control and spin, and other bad things may happen. And the other thing was fuel, actually. I was noticing after like 3 or 4 laps that my fuel consumption is a little bit higher than what I expected. And I was, I don't know, for about 15 or 16 laps, I was doing some lift and coast for most of the corners. And at the end, I had 0.8 kilograms left when the race was finished. So I was kind of in dire need of fuel saving.
How bad was it? I mean, 0.8 kilometers for the guys. Sorry, 0.8 kilograms for the guys that aren't attuned to fuel strategy. How bad is that?
Well, given the fact that I, for about a quarter of the race, was saving fuel, I guess I would have needed an extra 2, maybe 3 kilograms to make it to the end. So I had to save quite a bit. It wasn't necessarily a little.
Now, pit stop again was good. Traffic management again was good. We head ourselves to Indianapolis next time by. I mean, the only thing I would say about Indianapolis, you've got that very long straightaway, of course. Is that a worry for you at all?
Well, not really. As long as no one is in DRS, then it's not a big deal. When someone is in DRS, then obviously it's a very good chance to overtake. So, it will be important to get everyone out of DRS immediately, hopefully after 2 laps already, so people can't draft all the time. But other than that, I think the long straight is no concern.
I'm going to be blatantly honest at this point and say that if I was the betting organisation, I'll probably stop bets on you winning the World Championship. But the bet is still on for 12 out of 12. Of the remaining races that we have in this championship, remaining 5 rounds, which are you most scared about?
That is a good question, actually. I have no clear favorite for that. Probably Nürburgring. That has been the race where we last year had the biggest problems with the car. The other races that are remaining, I think, should be fairly good for us, and for the setup we already have from last year, with the improvements we can probably squeeze out from the knowledge we gained this year, I guess that should be pretty good. So yeah, go to Nürburgring. That's probably the worst for us.
And of course, it's impossible to get yourself more championship wins in a season than Gregor Houtu did, but you have got the opportunity to A, get the most championship wins in a row, and also B, get the highest percentage of championship wins in a season with 100%. Is that now something that you want to achieve?
Well, sure. It would be a nice thing to actually lock out the whole season just with wins, but yeah, I'm still thinking race to race. I mean, the championship is more important, and if for whatever reason going for a win is too risky because it would mean a risky overtake or something, I'm happy with second as well. But yeah, 12 out of 12 would be nice.
Martin Kroenke, thank you so much. Before we let you go, if you would like to say some words in your native language, feel free to do so. And also, if you've got any sponsors, teammates, anything else you'd like to give a shout out to, the floor is yours.
First of all, I want to say thank you to my teammates for helping with the preparation for this race. We got the car into a place where it was really comfortable to drive, which is not a given thing at Imola. It's a fairly tough track to get the car comfortable. And also to our sponsors. First of all, to Virtual Racing School, and also to Heusingfeld Engineering, Andron Design, SimQuip, and Joel Wildhaming.
Thank you very much there to Martin Kroenke. And I will say one thing, Johnny. Of all the people we interview, actually, and I'm not just saying it because he's here, Martin Kroenke is always one of the nicest people we interview as well. Always one of the most humble people to interview.
Yeah, what a gentleman. So good for all the kids out there to learn off of. Isn't full of himself or that kind of stuff. He's great. So, and we're going to hear more of him, I think, this season.
I think we pretty much guarantee it.
Yeah, if he gets something wrong in a race, he'll probably still be in the top 5 somewhere. So, top 5 for interviews. And that's who we're speaking to next. The man who finished second, his name's Freek Schothorst. Will, I'm going to take it away with Freek. And Freek, career best result, second place, first podium finish for your career. Very happy, surely.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Very tough race. I prepared quite well for it. So I was hoping for a good result. But then in the qualifying, I had an off track in my second lap, which cost me the front row, so that was quite annoying. But yeah, I did the undercut. It's so hard to overtake, so I just had to try something. And then the second stint was quite good actually. So yeah, really happy. It was close with Bono, but eventually everything was under control, I think.
Well, you say the second stint was good. Talk about the pit stop phase. I mean, you were so smart with the strategy, and you ended up undercutting your teammates as well. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, that was crucial. Yeah, I just had to try something, so I had the undercut, and then I pushed as hard as I could. And Mark was still in front of me, so but my pace was a bit better, I felt like, so I tried to overtake him, which I managed, and then was able to run away a bit. So that was really good. And then I was even catching Martin a bit, but I heard he was fuel saving, so maybe that was probably the reason why it was, but still quite positive. And then the second half struggling a bit with tires, so I just wanted to bring it home in second.
Yeah, and I mean, who makes the call on that pit stop? Is it your call, or is it an engineer behind the scenes? Who does that?
No, it's completely my call. The team speak was actually not working, so I had no contact at all with Bono or Graham. But yeah, I mean, I think we knew from each other that the pit stop window would be between lap 25 and lap 30. So yeah, I don't think I surprised my teammates with it. I already told them I would go for the undercut.
So final thing, you're the best of all Team Redline drivers today in the end with P2. What's the atmosphere like with the team now, knowing that in P1 it's Martin Kroenke who's won every race, even the 5-time world champion as Gregor Hutu can't beat him this season. So what is the atmosphere still okay behind the scenes? Because a lot of drivers missing this round too. Yeah,
it's okay. I think yeah, Gregor missed it because he's still moving places, so he doesn't have his setup right. And I think Ollie and Alexi were busy as well. But yeah, of course we are a bit frustrated, and Martin is doing an incredible job. But the championship is already over, we can win that. But the focus is on 2018, I think. We just need to close the gap now. We still have, I think, 5 races remaining. And I think today has been a good day. My best so far has been, I think, 36 seconds behind Martin. And today I finished only 12 behind, so I made quite a big step. If I can do that one more time, then I should be really close next time.
Yeah, good job. There you go, Will. That's Freek Schothorst who finished second for Team Redline this round for round number 7 at Imola. That music, by the way, it's so soothing. It felt like I was in some sort of psychological session with Freek Schothorst then.
I'll put it on again in a minute. Actually, one thing I want to talk about there. For Redline, they said the championship's over. They've conceded defeat. I mean, Freek just said that. They've conceded defeat. I mean, that's the thing. We are round number 7 or 12. And actually, if you, again, as I said, if you're a betting man, you'd stop placing bets now on Martin Kroenke because it's too obvious. Redline has conceded defeat. But actually, when you concede defeat in terms of the championship, what it means is you start racing race by race. And this is when Redline can become dangerous.
No, you're exactly right. And so, I mean, dangerous suits the music right now you're playing as well. I feel like I want to run through a brick wall with this music too. So,
just don't go running through a wheat field, okay?
Well, in Australia, I mean, end up accidentally stepping on a wheat field and you won't even know it.
So, we've got ourselves third place, Bono House. Bono, hello.
Not showing up.
He's not here.
Yeah, he's not here. No, he's not. He doesn't even. He never shows up to it.
Well, I was going to say, hi, Bono. I spent the entire season saying that you can't get podiums. Here's a podium again for you. How does it feel? But I can't do so. Bono, please write your messages in the mail to me. I'll happily read them out on air next time I talk to you. So it's a case of talking to Mac Backham. Mac Backham, once again in the top 5. Mac, how's it going, buddy?
All right, I guess a little bit frustrated with the race. Didn't really go according to plan, the race and the qualifying, so yeah, can be better.
Talk us through it.
Well, in quali I messed up quite badly. Not nearly as much as Frake did, but yeah, I still lost out of quite a few positions. I probably didn't make much of a deal in the end though, but first hit was very, very good actually. I felt like I was quite a bit quicker than the red line guys. So I overtook them, and then pretty much as soon as I came out of the pits, I had no more pace compared to them. They just flew by me. So at first I just thought they had a very good setup for the second stint, but I just heard that I was also a lot slower than Martin and Marty. So it's probably just something in my driving that I have to look at. And yeah, after that I had a pretty close battle with Graham. Unfortunately I hit a curb on the inside of turn 1 and went wide into him, so apologies for that. That was my fault, I think. And yeah, from there on I just brought it home in 4th. Not much I could have done anymore, I think. Had to fuel save a bit, but yeah, had a pretty substantial gap to behind, so that was nice.
P4 though, I mean, you've kind of finally broken the curse of you only getting a certain position in a World Championship Series race. And again, you did have the opportunity for a podium here today. Indianapolis 2 weeks time, and I've been having a look at here the speed line differences between yourself and Redline. You do seem to have better straight line speed.
I haven't really looked at that, to be honest.
Well, I do. That's my job.
It could be. I don't know. With the DRS, I don't think it really mattered that much today. We were quicker on different parts of the track, I agree, yeah, but I don't know exactly what it is. That's far too technical for me.
Okay, final question. Do you know the words to Back Home Again in Indiana?
I absolutely do not.
Do you want to join me next week? Not next week, in 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time, and sing it with me?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Do you want to learn the words and sing it with me in 4 weeks' time? You know you want to. You know you want to.
I think something is messing up.
Nope. Okay, let's... who do you want to give a shout out to? Sponsors, teammates, friends, family, pet dogs, cats, hamsters?
Yeah, all of those, of course. Especially to Marty and Martin for help with the setup, and to our spotters, and to Virtual Racing School, Huizingveld Engineering, SimQuip, Andre Design JRT. And I want to thank the Iron Fist of Secret, and yeah, I want to thank you guys for podcasting.
Well, thank you so much there to Matt Backham. Now it's time to say moi moi to Marty Piatella, who stood by with Johnny Simon.
Thanks, Will. Marty Piatella, podium last year, P5 this year. Is it still satisfying for you?
Yeah, I really couldn't. I don't think I could have done any better in this race, starting from what I did. So yeah, P5 is actually more than I was hoping before the race start. Yeah, it turned out pretty good. Pace was nice and everything went good.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about qualifying. You started P19. You had an Ollie Pakala style qualifying in 2017. Why was the case for that? Would you just not get the lap right, or was it just not comfortable with a low fuel setup?
No, the car was perfect, and well, the driver less so. But yeah, saving ERS during your qualifying lap is not particularly good. And then on your next lap, getting a 1x on the first set of corners to kind of makes the race more interesting.
You didn't feel bad at all when you passed Marcus Jensen and demoralized the young 16-year-old at the end of the race, because a P5 for him would have been amazing. But talk about that last pass there. You were, at least the whole final stint, you were on a charge, picking off drivers one by one.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much how it worked last season as well over here. Yeah, we had a really good car. Overall, the main straight and the DRS range is so long here that passing isn't that much of a difficulty if you have the pace. Of course, it's a different case when you're stuck in a train. But just 1-versus-1 situation. It's just opening up the wing and goodbye. The thing that was pretty distracting to me was that the first time I overtook Marcos, I wasn't really intending to do so. The kind of situation opened up for me by accident, and I wasn't really prepared for it, and did some stupid stuff there, and we had a contact, which resulted me with 14 incidents total in that point of the race. So I even thought for a moment that maybe I should just stick with P6 and take it to the finish, but yeah, yeah, that's not racing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, any race car driver will always say they have to push further. Final question for you is 4 weeks now to Indianapolis. Very long time again between rounds. What's the team practice plan with 4 weeks to the next race? Do you do anything differently? Do you have half the team focus on it and then 2 weeks later the other half start to focus more? Or how does it work at Coanda?
I don't know about the rest, but for me, my preparation will be mainly by the lake, sitting in the sauna, relaxing, and that sort of, finish stuff. At least Will knows how it is, so that's... Yeah.
And we have to debunk a myth. In a Finnish sauna, you have to be naked.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. No other option.
Well, with this music too, I assume, and you'll be fine.
No, that's... Yeah,
that's all I know.
You've been in the wrong sauna.
Yeah, I have been. I've been in the Yoni Backman sauna, so,
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, that's it. So, was I meant to wrap up, Will? Or
yeah, you're supposed to wrap up that interview,
Yeah, well, Marty Pitella finished P5. Good result. Should have been on the podium. Sorry, Marty, had to say that. But he's had a great result here last year, so surely he'll be back for Indy. A track which will, I mean, not really the same as Indianapolis. Completely different. Not the same as Imola, I should say. Different characteristics, different stuff. Will. Looking forward to that. Round number 8 of the championship.
Well, you know me, don't you?
You're going to sing the Indianapolis song, are you?
I'm not going to sing the Indianapolis song. Not yet. Not today. I'll do it next time we go out. We'll play it, maybe, if you're lucky.
Yeah. And we never get in trouble for copyrights.
No.
I don't know how. With the NFL,
do you want
Fox, music.
That's what's coming up to you in a month's time here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacing Live. Because we are heading ourselves back home again to Indiana, to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the greatest racetrack, in my opinion, in the world. Located about 9 miles to the northwest of the capital of the state of Indiana, Speedway Indiana basically embodies everything that is about that state. And again, these drivers will be going 70+ laps around that racetrack, and they will be doing their very best to try and unthrone Martin Kroenke from winning every single race this season. And Johnny, actually, that's the thing. No longer is it a case of, can we beat Martin Kroenke for the championship? Is, can we be that driver to be the asterisk in Martin Kroenke's 2017 career?
Oh, we'll wait and see. That's all I can say. And so far this season, that looks very, very difficult.
But to talk about this race again, Kroenke did a great job here today, but Redline did a great job as well, let's be honest.
Yeah, they did. And, expectations go out the window because Martin, take him out of the picture, it's a Frank Schotthorst win. And if you take Martin Kroenke out of a lot of these races, you'll have 3 Gregor Hutu wins, you have 2 Mitchell de Jong wins, a Graham Carroll victory, and a Frank Schotthorst victory. Those are the people who finished in the second place. So it's just so difficult to beat the guy, and be a human being and give a guy a slap on the back or slap on the backside for a good job.
Yeah.
But just for no reason. Yeah.
We have also had 2 fantastic races here today, of course, on RaceSpot Race Day. The Renault Sim Cup and the Super Cup as well. The Super Cup was just outstanding here today.
It was good fun. Porsches are always very entertaining every single round this season by far. And apologies to our Formula Renault counterparts, but by far the Porsches have been the most entertaining series, and we've seen that from round 1 onwards.
Rachel Whiteford's still here. Rachel, what's your thoughts about the race? She's gone.
It was a fantastic race, honestly. It was something that we've enjoyed watching, and the season's getting better and better, and hopefully it'll be exciting once we see what happens with the rest of the season.
So, here's the situation. 7 out of 7. That is how we leave Imola. The Cronke code has not been broken in 2017. Hashtag copywritten RaceSpotTV. Hashtag copywritten Wolverhampton. I own that one. I'm sorry, I'm taking it. But can anyone break the Cronke code? Can anyone really find a way of stopping Martin Cronke in 2017? Today, Team Redline pretty much admitted it's time for them to think about 2018 because they know that Cronke has the season in the bag. But when you say that, a team becomes more dangerous because they'll put all they have into stopping him just once, just twice if they can, knowing they can stop him from having the ultimate domination. For Coanda, all they need to do is keep doing what they've done all season long. But for Martin Cronke, he is still the man. Thank you so much for being a part of our coverage here on RaceSpot Race Day and the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Myself, Will Vincent, Rachel Whiteford, Jonathan Simone. Also, to Paul Smith, we will see you all in 4 weeks at the Brickyard at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's going to be a fantastic day's worth of action. We will see you then. Goodbye.